Hello, everybody. This is Mary Costello. Welcome to the Womb Room, where I open the space and we open the space. The space is open and offered. So, my guest who comes in and our conversation and whatever convergence is called for just receives the correct soil, the correct welcoming, and the correct embrace just to unfold and allowing what we share and who we are to be clarified and really find its way in that clarification into the connected consciousness. This is what seems to happen. It just opens, something opens up and it sings, and then it is returned to the consciousness or to the one creational song. So, my beautiful guest today is Aloha K. Akua. Aloha is a channel of higher consciousness. That is the most abbreviated way I can describe her. But truly, our convergence has happened. Whales come to mind. Skellig. I found an access point, a whale stone in Skellig. And when Aloha saw that I shared, she felt more. She was actively, well, I won't speak for her, but there was a code, or there was something shared in that moment with that stone. Um, and Aloha saw me Atara with Sacha. And there just seems to be some higher consciousness that Aloha has to shine onto this whole situation. So I'm so grateful you're here. You're
Mm.
very welcome.
Mm.
And you are free to speak any way you wish about whatever comes to mind.
Yeah, so I'll just dive right into this whole mystery
Yeah,
because
it
I
is a mystery.
it's completely spontaneous and free flow, and this can only happen because we're like I'm just trusting because I don't know really what's going on.
Welcome to the party.
Oh, and is my sound okay? I checked it before and it seemed to be all right. Is it okay for
Yeah,
you?
I can hear you
Okay,
perfect.
good.
Yeah,
Um, so um, since so I'm gonna have to say this a little bit.
sure.
Since it was last year in February when the E3 comet came through, something it just went boom 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 boom. It just opened up, and actually it was already short before I realized that the comet was coming through. I was told it was in the wee early morning hours. It was just like came into my mind like tick 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 tick, and it's like, get up, take a piece of paper, write this down. It was so clear, coming from my soul, and it was hard for me to. So now, yeah, okay, I'll just share this. Just I think it's necessary for the context, at least from my end of things. And it's interesting because I don't think this is only happening to me. So
Of course,
of course it's happening in different
yeah.
ways to different people, but people will recognize, and that's
Hmm.
the magic of it. So i'm I'm sitting there and I'm having trouble writing this down because my uh, left brain so the male side, the rational mind, right? The rational mind can't make sense of it. It's like, oh, you're just it's worried that I'm perhaps um, that I am losing myself to some kind of things that are just fantasy, that have no merit and no value, and it's just like, because maybe, I don't know, it makes all kinds of it has these doubts. And so it was choppy, and then my higher self said, look, when you were a child, this choppiness, that this disturbance wasn't there. You just went with it. It was play. It was everything was play, and you just went with it. You didn't question it. You played with what came through. And so, can we just, can we just go into play with this now? And so yeah, and that really helped me. So I could let that go and just have fun with it, even because I was able to have that little door open. It doesn't matter. Maybe it's nothing, maybe it's just fantasy and it's nothing. Maybe it's just like a piece of art. It doesn't have to have a meaning. It was fun to do.
Yeah.
And then it just started when I started writing it down and committing myself to it. Like, okay, I am listening, I am here, and I am treating this has value. I'm treating this with I'm giving this my attention now, and this is valuable, to me personally, but it was also it's in general. And okay, so that was the code when it started coming through. And so there's the code, and then what was happening when I was listening to certain other people speak, they would they would like open it more and open it more, and it would start stringing together, and it would be this magic. When I say magic, it's that feeling that you and the universe, you and life are not it's one. You're not separate from it.
Yeah.
It's that conscious, it's that awareness, that it's like it's looking back at you from the universe, and there's communication. There's through the code. And so so last year I was just writing it down, the whole thing, all year I was writing. And then this year, and then it started to shift, and it started to shift into that all that which I captured and wrote, it was starting to come together in certain ways, and I began making videos. And then something happened at the beginning of this year that was personal. It was like a personal, huge, one of the biggest challenges of my life, like really like heartbreaking.
Mm.
And I had to give that my full focus. And then so I was in that. I was not. I switched off the code, because once the code is turned on and it just comes in, it just flows. And what happened to me last year, when it was flowing to the point where it was so strong that there was a day where it was just coming through and through and through, and there was one after the other, these synchronicities, like the universe speaking to me. Yeah. And every single time it was like, every 10 minutes there was something that was exactly what I was in this moment, and what I haven't, like what was in my mind, what I was focusing on. Synchronicity, signs, codes, and so forth. It was talking so loud and so much, and I knew it. I knew it, and so the energy was going higher and higher, and to the point where I was over the toilet, I was purging, and it was just because the vibration was so high. And I said, okay, guys, because I had been going for weeks and weeks and weeks, and it was building and building, like one little, because it's just so juicy, one little example. So I'm sitting there writing in the code, and it's about Jehovah. So I'm like writing Jehovah, and at that point last year, I've already been living here for 8 years, and this never happened before. The moment I was writing Jehovah, the doorbell rings. Oh, okay. I go, hello, Jehovah's Witnesses. Never before. And I said, and I was so happy. It was another thing, and yeah, it's just a little example. So then I had the break this year, and so I was not in the code. And this is always also the thing, the code only comes when I'm ready for it. And sometimes I have, like, after that happened with the purge, I said, guys, I need a break. I can't go on like this. So then I get it too. And so what brought me on this, and this came after this big break where I was, focused on the personal thing, and then I saw the video of Rion. And
Mm-hmm.
with the thing with the code is, and I call it this, I say the code, but other people will they will recognize it, and they'll have different words for it. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And is that when it comes, I know it's code, because it's there's a resonance. It has certain, it's connected to the heart, it has a certain tonality feeling to it. And I just tuned in. I don't watch it. I don't watch every one of Rion's videos. I just every once in a while I tune in, and he was saying that he just got back from Ireland, and that's always super. I find that super fascinating when he goes on his trips, and I hang on his lips. What he describes about, he's a grid worker, and he just gets sent by his by his higher self. They just tell him to go there and clean up, right?
Mm-hmm.
And he will go wherever it is, to the end of the world, and he'll do his job there, his energy clearing, healing work, And so, and he was saying that, okay, hold on.
Sure. That's Rion derouen. Is that how you say his second name? Rion
Unite
derouen.
the collective, exactly.
Yeah. Team Light. Team
Exactly.
Light. Yeah, he always has the hat or the shirt on.
Yeah.
So he's got great energy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so he's like, he was in Ireland.
Yeah.
And that was this year. It's summertime.
Mm-hmm.
And first he said, which was interesting, that he was in Northern Ireland somewhere, and there were these energetic, or in the ass. I don't understand this. I don't understand it enough yet to be able to really, and I would love to ask him one day, about, the more specifics about this. But somehow there's like, maybe you have also some ideas how there are cities underground. I know there are physical cities underground, but then there are also these other realms where there's underground and in the sky, but it's in a different realm. And I guess it's a different dimension, but we don't want to go into that. So anyways.
Oh, well, we will.
Yeah. Not at this point. I mean,
yeah, okay, sorry.
There was a he said there was this big dark being sitting on one of the so like everybody has meridians, so does Earth, and these are all currents, like these are all energy currents, and there was an energy current coming from the center of the Earth up and out, but he was blocking it. He was sitting on it like a cork, he said, and he popped that cork. He took care of it. And so, but why this was important too was that an energy current has been freed there in that place, Northern Ireland, which I don't know where, like the geography, how that relates to Hill of Tara, where we're going to get to later on. I don't know. I didn't actually check that. I only looked at Skellig, because then he said, so he cleared that, and then he said he went to Skellig. Never heard of that place before, but the moment he talked about it, there was something. It was like it didn't release. It was like it captured me. It was code, especially when he said, when I checked. I don't know if he said it or when I checked it. It's that it's called Skellig Michael, like the main place there is called Skellig Michael, and it came into immediately. I saw, and a bunch of dots started to connect, and I don't know, like I didn't look up the name, but what it means to me, Skellig, is clear. Skellig means stairway. And when I looked at the place, the pictures I saw were these stone stairs going up high, very, very, very long stone stairs going up very high. And so And then Rion was saying that, and I got it when he said it. It was transmission. I saw it. I got it. Was that anyways, the area of Ireland and England, and also I think I think it was attached to France and Germany. So I think it was like all still one landmass with a European continent, let's say,
Mhm.
first of all. And then what we also know is that the sea level has risen since a long time ago. And he said it used to be tropical, but not in a tropical heat way, but like we know tropical today, but like a nice tropical, you know, like a
Yeah.
really nice. And that's how it used to be. And I could see that. And I also could see that that there used to be it used to be the tip. So what is now this island, Skellig
Mhm.
Michael, it used to be the tip of a huge mountain.
Mhm.
Yeah. So
Mhm.
I'm just gonna stop right there. Maybe you want to say something.
Sure. Yeah, when you're speaking of Northern Ireland, this is definitely something that's coming up because today, so I've been there at the Giant's Causeway, and today when I was about to post something, a picture, I was adding a picture, a photo, and a photo from Giant's Causeway that I had taken jumped its way into Facebook, by accident kind of. And it was a photo I took of in the wall of a claw. It was a dragon's foot, clearly claws. And I also have seen, and I took a photo that day as well of the head of the dragon, you know. Um, and when Rion was talking to me about that, when he was talking on his transmission about the cities underground, I feel them in the belly. It's a different feeling. It's like they're in the mother dragon's belly, you know? So as we're talking about that, I'm burping. I feel sickness, you know? So that's just something to side note to look into.
Yeah.
Um, okay, and then Skellig Michael. So when we were there, so my bro Rion actually came to meet my brother. I didn't get to meet him. That's okay. And I went to Skellig with my brother, and I found that. So we'll move on to the whale stone. So I found, just walking around, it was clear to me that this was like the tailbone and the spine, the backbone of a whale. Or, I could just see the outline, so strong, big tailbone at the back. And I didn't feel much, around the place, but found the spot, the 0 point. There's like a little beehive hut at the front, at the top of the mountain, at the very front. And I said, "Oh, this is the spot." And as I'm walking in, there's a blue whale stone left on the ground. I was like, okay, okay, this is certainly the spot. This stone is exceptional. Left right there for everyone to walk on. Not a very thick stone, like a piece of art, actually, just on there.
Wow.
And I walked in and I sat there and I could feel, and we had tourist ships, we had a very big tourist ship accompanying the boat out to Skellig. And I had to keep my eyes on it to stop myself from getting sick. I was like,
Mm,
find a still point, and this Arcturus
mm.
ship was the still point.
Okay, let me
Um,
ask you if I may.
mhm.
How did you know it was from Arcturus?
I just know there's a shape. There's a
Okay,
shape. Yeah, there's a particular shape
okay.
um,
Do you have
that I
like
recognize.
connections to beings from? I mean, how do you know? You say you know. How do you know?
I just know.
Okay, okay.
Yeah,
No, I know that feeling. Yeah.
yeah. I just know.
Yeah, I
And
guess I know that.
it comes up repeatedly. And earlier on in the week before I had gone, there was one by my house, and there was also a cloud in the shape of a dolphin or a whale. So these things are, you know, there's stuff. oh, like I get an impulse to take a photo of the sun.
Yeah.
And in that
Yeah.
moment, the sun has something to tell me, you know. And
Right.
so these things, I'm very sensorially protected. I don't read a lot, see a lot, ingest a lot, and then I'll
Yeah.
get this impulse to
Mm-hmm.
take a photo, an impulse to go here,
Yeah.
an impulse to look at 5 seconds of something. So I'm constantly in that state of receiving um something, you
Mm-hmm.
know, or
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
not. I'm either
It's
receiving
exactly how the
nothing
code is
or
for me.
receiving something amazing, you know, kind of thing.
Sorry.
Yeah, yeah. So I went inside in the beehive, and I just received my ruby necklace
Mm-hmm.
from after Tara. And this is actually kind of a special story, so I'll say this one.
Yeah.
After Tara, I had been wearing my mother's old pendant. It was like a water pendant. And when I came home from Tara, because the Tara was very much about, you know, that's the Hill of Kings in Ireland, very much
Yes.
about restoring the bloodlines and the kings of the of Earth. And so I came home from there, and I felt like kind of had done everything I could in relation to that. So I took off my stone, my water stone, and I was crying, and I just said to the universe, I'm ready for my queen stone now. That's what I said, and I was just crying. And this beautiful lady, Christy, who I had never talked with before, that very day, she messaged me, and she's a jewelry maker, and she offered me to make me any piece of jewelry that I would like.
So this was
And
after the Hill of Tara, because
yeah,
I thought you took the ruby stone to the Hill of Tara.
no, in Tara I found the ruby within the stone and activated it, sang it back to life.
I think we're walking backwards. I think we need to go
Mm.
to Tara to that story first.
Well, in Tara, that's what was there. We were walking around, and we everyone thought we were here to look
Okay,
at
wait,
something
wait,
else.
Mary.
Yes.
Let's start from, because I was going to ask you that anyway, and then we'll move our
Okay.
way, and then we'll find it in the middle.
Yeah,
Um,
Tara was first.
Tara was
Yeah.
first. So I would like to know what was the inspiration, the movement for you to go there and
Mm-hmm.
to that, because you contacted Sasha Stone, which is,
Mm-hmm.
I find that, unless you already knew him, but I find that very courageous to, and you contacted him and said, hey, I want to go to Hill of Tara with you, or I
No,
would like you to
not
tell
quite.
tell
Yeah, no,
him.
that's not what happened. So
Okay.
no, I messaged him. I spoke with him before on a show. I just spoke with him briefly over and back. Um, and then his producer contacted me. He was in Ireland and he wanted to meet me, and he wanted to go to Hill of Tara as well.
Okay.
So I said, perfect, I'll meet him there. And it was
Mm-hmm.
instant decision. That's what's going to happen.
Mm-hmm.
But previous to that, for 3 weeks before that, I had a red rose on my kitchen table. I have a big oak kitchen table, and I had a red rose in the center of it. It lasted 3 weeks, and it was just spiraling. It was just sending out this spiral for 3 weeks. And so I brought this red rose with me to Tara. So that's how Tara came about. I think Sasha picked up on the the spin of the red rose or something.
So you felt like something drew you to Tara, and you should take the red rose, and you felt Sasha should be there with you.
No, I activated the rose. I had the rose in my house. Sasha contacted me and said Tara, that he kind of created
Ah, sorry.
direction.
Okay.
Yeah. And then I arrived with my red rose, not knowing what I was doing at all. That's kind of how it goes. It's like I'm sending out these um, vibrations, I'm sending out these calls. I don't know what they are necessarily. They're often connected with roses. And something then, or someone comes into my life that is, you know, is meant to
Mm-hmm.
for that moment.
Yeah, yeah.
So it was only then when we got to Tara, we were just walking around and we found the deeper meaning. I found the stone that was there, in a beautiful place, away from everything else, away from the kind of spectacle of Tara.
Yeah.
And it
And this was the
was,
ruby red stone?
yeah, I could felt it when I went to it. I could feel it in my heart. But I've known already. My heart has the frequency of ruby.
Uh-huh.
That's not to say what anyone else's heart has or doesn't, but I just
Yeah.
know mine does.
Uh-huh.
So as soon as I touched the stone, I could feel resonance in my heart straight
Was this
away.
a real, was that stone a real stone, or like the stone that you actually have, or is
No, this is just me and a huge big boulder.
right? And so, but you're sensing, okay, so you and
Yeah.
a big boulder close to Tara,
hmm
and but you're sensing somehow, or maybe you can see, I don't know, you sense a
I
stone
felt
in
it.
there?
I can hear the stone. I can hear the vibration of the stone it's in resonance with my heart. So my heart makes a vibration. So I know it's the same vibration. I work it's all vibration and harmonics, and I'm only, I'm just trying to figure myself out. It
Yeah,
has increased in the last few weeks. I'm figuring myself out a bit more, but in that moment, I don't doubt myself. So that's a blessing. So I
yeah.
keep unfolding
Yeah.
without doubt. So, but in that moment, I could feel the vibration of the stone in my heart. And I just was like, okay, this is it. So then I can feel what the stone wants to say. I can feel what the stone is telling me because I believe that there's crystals in the ground, in the earth, that are eternal keepers of vibration. So they are eternal keepers of intention.
Mm-hmm.
And when we come into resonance with the earth and with these crystals, we are to bring our body into resonance with these crystals. So we all we all we'll become everything. That's the plan. But in the time of such fracture, we have gone through so much fracture. It's like these eternal principles were placed in the earth for us to re-establish and
Mm-hmm.
remember. And the
Mm-hmm.
way I remember them is through harmonics. It's almost like I remember in my womb the song of everything.
Oh, okay.
And I know when it's where something's missing. So I call for the thing that's
Mm-hmm.
missing somehow.
Oh,
And then
yeah.
when I find it, I can sing I can sing the memory of it around it to bring
Mm-hmm.
it back into manifestation.
Ah, okay, okay.
Yeah.
So you received that gift of that stone that you found in the boulder, but in an energetic way. And
Yes, and
then,
as that
ah,
opened, as I
mm-hmm,
sang the song of the ruby, as I sang the vibration back to itself, because we are a creator presence, right? So we're giving creator breath back. When we sing that vibration through ourselves, it's brought to life. I saw the heart. It was part of a network of ruby hearts, ruby stones, and it was a heart, and it had a vortex, and it was called the Heart of Father. And the vortex started spinning, and it started pulling to it from every bloodline, pulling to it the legion of the shadow dragons were being pulled from the bloodlines and taken off planet through this portal of the heart.
oh,
So,
wow.
yeah.
Wow. Oh my
hmm
God. Oh, that is beautiful. Um,
mm
I saw that video where you were on Hill of Tara, and you were speaking about the father
mm.
principle and the ruby heart, and I had just, it was in the code. I had it's even in code 14, which is the first fractal of the code. And uh it's from, I mean, I got this information, it came in through Lisa Renee, but why, I don't take everything from her, it came in again
Yeah.
strategically, and I knew, oh, this is part of the code. And also, I just take like the little pieces, just whatever piece is that I need, you know. I not the whole thing. I can't even wrap my mind around how she, you know, how
She's
complex it
everything.
is, you
Yeah.
know. So, but what I got was that at universal level, the father principle, and like the original father principle, you know, the sacred masculine, the which
Mm-hmm.
was, she called it ruby red templar, and it's part of the universal anatomy. uh,
Mm-hmm.
it was, it came back on, like it came back. It's
Mm-hmm.
back, and it's coming back to gather itself to, you know, I mean, it was somehow, it didn't have access, and now it has
Mm-hmm.
access again. And so when
Yeah.
you said that, it was like, wow. And I somehow, I also sensed that you didn't get it from Lisa, you know, that was coming through you.
No.
And to have like two such specific things
Mm-hmm.
come through two channels that have
Mm.
nothing to do with each other. This is
Yeah.
also what is continuously happening, and is that is like
Mm.
confirmation after confirmation that this is not just something that someone is spinning up in their mind like a
Yeah.
fantasy. This is
Mm-hmm.
real, and that's when that feeling comes. This is real. That's when I feel the magic.
It's beautiful, isn't it? Because it's like, yeah, I have been kept outside of reading and resourcing and things like that. I don't do it. I'm massively you could say limited or protected. Like my senses are just kept away from so much. And there's so much I don't hear, even if it's said near me, if it's not for me. And there's times I would close my eyes if something is in front of me that there's nothing I can't make set order of it because it's just distortion. I'll close my eyes. I won't even attempt. You know, so there's I just have and also there's times I face distortion in the eye, you know, but there's time like I don't just absorb everything. I'm
Right.
very careful with that. I protect my channel. Um, so I do read Lisa Renee sometimes, but like has so much information, and I'm not great with large bodies of information, you know. It just
Me
doesn't
either,
work.
me either.
Yeah.
So if I may
Yeah.
guide you along to the next point that
Mm.
wants to open up. It's this, you were saying now you received the ruby stone and you sung back, and so you did grid work there on Hill of Tara,
Mm.
and then what happened? How did it actually it manifested, right?
Yes, then straight away there's a women contact me, which is beautiful, and I get confirmation that, you know, they're seeing this legion of the shadow dragon, leaving the bloodlines, and then go further. There's women then, multiple women seeing this like black, you know, this machine, basically the machine above, which was feeding from the this distorted blood. So what I recognized was that I could change the frequency in the blood so that it could no longer be used by the Legion of the Shadow Dragons. And what I mean by that, I could correct the frequency in the blood, so that the blood could no longer would no longer carry the imprint of sacrifice. So it could no longer be used to feed the beast machine. And
Oh,
what compelled me to do that, I was heartbroken about Gaza, absolutely heartbroken.
oh,
And I knew I couldn't stop it, but I knew I could recall the blood and make it completely unusable by changing the frequency of it.
oh.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah,
Mm.
so this the black dragons is the where you call it the machine beast. So it's the
Yeah.
AI. I mean that
Yeah, it's the false mother.
it's the
It's like a
yeah,
big spider. Yeah. Well,
yeah.
I think it's gone. All the women saw it turn into gold and disappear. And I believe it's
Mm.
gone now because what I'm seeing now is the parasitic behaviors in all of us, in people, the network of it, pop showing. It's so obvious because it's no longer the frequency of its sustenance is no longer channeling through us. So now it's just we are cleaning it up ourselves just by the 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 expansion and the clarity of our and the expansion of our own frequency within us and between us. So I can see that the frequency that was sustaining that parasitic overlay is no longer, it's not there. It doesn't
Okay.
access us anymore.
Yeah.
So that
Yeah.
was a frequency machine. So we speak of like, well, how is everything so messed up? Because everything is held by sound. Everything is
Yeah.
directed by sound. Everything is purposed
Yeah.
by sound. The light body is purposed by sound. So the frequency, once the frequency is corrected, the light
Mm-hmm.
body is able to emerge in its pure function again. It just self-corrects when it's left alone and
Yeah.
when it's given the correct frequency.
Right. When you can
Mm.
remember that, when you can get a taste of it and remember, oh yeah,
Yeah,
that's me. And I don't want
yeah,
this, and it
yeah.
becomes this that you call uh, um, the distorted sound, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
The distorted sound. It's a spell. Um,
Yeah.
that I mean, that's what they had done for
Mm-hmm.
thousands of years, this black
Yeah.
magic,
Mm-hmm.
and it works like when we call magic, because we don't understand the science behind it. And it
Mm.
also works like technology can mimic that, and like a
Yeah.
technology. And it reminds me of and I'll just shove this in real quick, maybe it helps
Sure.
someone, of I love Harry Potter. So the Dementors in Harry Potter.
Oh, yeah.
You know them? You familiar with
I
them?
think so. It's this. I don't know. I feel like I know that word, dementor.
Yeah.
I'm
Well,
sure I
it's
know
just
that
such a
word.
I think it's just such a great example of how this works.
Mm.
So they're standing in front of you, and they're sucking your yeah, basically they're sucking your loosh, right? And you're like,
Mm-hmm.
this is also sleep paralysis. So you're like
Mm-hmm.
paralyzed, and they're just sucking your loosh, and you just like you feel like you have no power,
Yeah.
like they have they're holding your power.
Yes.
um what they learn in school is at Hogwarts is to produce what they call patronus, and
Mm-hmm.
that's a light being. That's usually it's some kind of an animal, but it can also be some other living being.
Mm.
And so it's something that really exists, that we have a connection to, and that brings good feelings, and that brings light
Mm.
back. And as soon as we can, but here's the catch 22. And I'm
Mm-hmm.
sharing this because this is also for people who are and
Mm.
attacked at night, psychically attacked at night.
Mm-hmm.
But see, this kind of, again, it's the same principle of the energetic attacks, and
Mm-hmm.
overlays and all of this during the day. It's always the
Yeah.
same principle. But at night, I learned this through my own experience, and my higher self taught me. So the catch
Mm.
22 is that when you're in when you're feeling afraid, and when you're in this powerless state. And it would also make you powerless if you were to believe in sacrifice, right? If you were to believe
Yeah.
that you needed to make a sacrifice, that's your
Mm-hmm.
belief. Then that makes you, of course, because it's not aligned and attuned with your true self.
Yeah.
That's a distortion that will make you weak, right, and give
Mm-hmm.
power away. And
Yeah.
mm, so as long as you are in that belief, or you don't even come out to think, you're just like you're
Mm-hmm.
paralyzed, because you're paralyzed in fear. But as soon as
Yeah.
you know, and this is all you need to know, this is like the
Mm-hmm.
door, where the door opens and you can go out, where you can start to gather your energy, get it back, because they're you
Mm-hmm.
know they're they're hijacking it. And
Yeah.
that is as soon as you know that they have absolutely no power.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. We are their power supply.
Yeah,
That's the
it's
truth.
all
Yeah.
uh, it's all us. We are the
Mm-hmm.
power.
Yeah.
So when we realize that
Mm-hmm.
we have the power to take it all back, and that it's because we're under a spell, we're afraid. But when we realize, wait a minute, there's nothing to be afraid of, because I have all the power to stop this right now, even if I can't yet. It takes some practice. But still, this is what switches you, gets you out of fear enough. It's enough when it's just a tiny little bit to be able then to practice your Patronus, or whatever that is for you, to connect with your higher self, connect with your soul, call in, call in angels, call in whatever you believe in, call in, and if you don't believe, call in your soul or something. And why did I wait a minute? Why did I say this? You were talking about sacrifice. Yes, exactly. And
the frequency of sacrifice.
Yes, exactly. So when we remember the truth of that, that we are the ones in power, they have no power, we lose our fear, we get our power back. And as soon as, and this is what is important, was when I was stuck in fear, and in this paralysis in the night, because what was the okay, because because what I was feeling was horrible, so I was pushing the feeling away. So that means I was pushing all of myself away. And so they told me, they said, what you're feeling, you think you're feeling the demon. Yes, I'm feeling the impact of the demon on sitting on top of me. Yeah. But they said, and because you don't want to feel the demon, that's so yucky, you're pushing your feelings away. And that's how you're pushing yourself away. And that's then how he has access to you, because you're not connected to that part of you. Yeah. You're creating that separation. When you know that, and they said, it feels super yucky, but it's you. It's you. You're not touching him. You're not feeling into him. You are just taking yourself back by feeling. So open up. You're not opening up to him or her or whatever, this thing, this demon, this kind of being, or you're not opening up to the other, to what is attacking you. You are opening up to yourself. And as you open up to yourself and allow yourself to feel the yuckiness, knowing I'm only feeling me, then I'm back with me, then I'm present with me, I'm embracing me. I say, you don't have to be afraid, I'm right here. That's feeling me. And so then I'm opening up, and with that, they're gone. They're gone. They don't, because then as we re-inhabit ourselves, the light comes back in and switches back on, and they're afraid of that. They're gone. So that's what you did with the blood.
I was just so it's really funny because when you talk about you have to feel it, and we've all kind of been sold a spirituality that is actually about detachment, and which I've never believed in, because it's physically impossible for me to be detached from the network of my sustenance. So the impetus for me to do things is always deep emotion, deep feeling, the deepest. It's always tears, and anger and pure sadness, and grief about something. So this is just something I would like to offer as well for people who have been sold, detachment, or stay calm, don't think, don't feel, just kind of observe. It's like the greatest things I've ever done have always come from a well of this like eternal emotion and grief that says that like we can't like that can't be allowed. So I just want to speak of, like, I'm so grateful we're talking, and there's other people popping their heads up, and there's so many conversations going on of people who really like have a good grasp and a good command of their energy, or we're getting there, right? We're figuring it out. We're trying to behold ourselves, like we said. And then I am just in contrast. So I know I have been massively protected all my life. And because I had to witness what I had to witness and not be damaged by it.
Mm.
So I witnessed, this frequency interference in the bloodlines, um, possessing a man with anger and madness and rage, and this man um, being weaponized against his son, and his son, both father and son. Sorry, this makes me so emotional, but both father and son had a heart of Christ. They had, like, I could see that they had like the father of Christ and the son of Christ, and they were weaponized against each other, to torment each other. Um, so this is my motivation, when I feel these things, and I just keep digging and keep feeling until I feel what happened. But I can say that rift, that attack, that weaponization is dissolving and it is healing. And I can see that in my physical reality. So everything I do is so incredibly personal and emotionally driven,
Mm. Yes.
and I feel like it has to be that way. That depth of feeling has to be there. Otherwise we'd never do anything, you know?
Mm-hmm.
So I might restore something because I see the pain in one or two. But then the restoration of that eternal principle, it's a network. We are all connected. There's no
Mm-hmm.
one outside of our network. And
Yes.
the power of that love pushes that correction through the network to
Yes.
influence everyone connected to that network. That's how
And
I feel.
you just went like this,
Yeah.
and it just reminded me that when that happened, when Rion talked about Skellig
Mm.
Michael and about popping the cork of taking this demon off, um,
Mm.
I started having like I don't remember like when I had this, maybe as a child, but no, oh yeah, as a child, very, very, very strong. But since childhood, not.
Mm.
I had sore throat, like there were razors that night. It was like
Mm.
right after that, I had razors in my throat, and I was fever and the worst, like sore throat, and
Mm.
then it was like it went on for weeks and weeks with the throat and the and fever on and off, and
Mm.
it's like still not completely, I'm still coughing, it's still not
Mhm.
completely gone, something has shifted, it's like it's not completely healed. But what I
Mm.
feel is that it has to do with the throat, and I also put that
Mm.
in my last video, yeah,
Mhm.
that with this liberation, and then also, yeah, as you said, it's all connected. So a lot was um came back into flow. Yeah,
Mhm.
came back into flow with your grid work and Rion's grid work, and we'll come,
Everyone, people are, I think they're
like so
doing
much.
things the same day, even in
Yeah,
different places. Yeah. Yeah.
exactly. And
Mm.
I mean, Rion even met Sacha on the hill of Tara. He said
Wow.
he didn't, maybe there it was a different day, but and they didn't.
Okay.
That was by chance. I'm just saying,
Yeah.
we're
Wow.
being guided to
Wow.
do our shtick,
Mhm.
and
Yeah.
so I think that had direct correlation with what came up, and it's certainly, I'm
Yeah.
sure it's not just me with the throat, and then of course
Mm.
all that the throat means that I put in the videos. Mm,
Mm.
mm.
Wow.
So if I may,
Mm.
can we go back to the place where you received the ruby stone
Oh, yeah. So I took off my old pendant. Um,
when you got back from the hill of Tara, or?
you know what? It was a different. I went to Tara again,
Aha.
There was
Okay.
something else in August, the Emerald Convergence, and I believe that was after Sacha. I think Sacha was before that.
Hmm.
So I went to the Emerald Convergence. God, I can't remember which was. It must have been after that. I don't know. It was a short enough time span.
Yeah, it
I
doesn't
went
matter.
to, yeah, I went to this Emerald Convergence, and I there was people from all over the world at it. It was truly a convergence, and they all felt called. And the day was picked by the Earthstar. She picked the day, and everyone converged.
Oh,
Yeah.
the womb girl from Andromeda,
Um, I don't know.
from China, from China and
Is
Andromeda.
she the womb girl from Andromeda?
But
That's
she does
a
like womb temple,
Yeah,
and she's
that's a beautiful name.
from China and she's from Andromeda. But it
Yeah.
must be her. So
Yeah,
okay,
yeah,
interesting.
Z Earther, she was there, and there
Okay.
was lots of people there, and I went, and it was just there was so many people, and they were all coming, and I found I just stood on a mound with a couple of others, my brother and a friend Asta, my beautiful friend Asta. Uh, I mean, beautiful. This woman is a fashion designer. She dresses like, oh my Lord, her clothes are amazing. So anyway, that's just a side note. But we were there, and I could feel in my knowing that this mound was an emerald womb, and I had already known a year or two previous that when everyone walked through, when all the lines of people walked through this emerald womb, they would get this eternal renewal, this eternal life
Mm.
within. They would be brought back to the frequency of mother's womb, the green womb, the womb of life on earth. Um, so I just stood on top of that and, hollered out my sound, the sound of the womb. So like I stand there and I make the sound that I receive from the crystal. And I just made that sound, and if it felt truly that that's something, and a very big dragon had woken up from that, and
Mm.
I had some others giving kind of what's the word, affirmation on that image, but in different ways. But that was a contentious convergence because so many people were converging. What I found it did to people was brought up tribalism.
Mm.
And the whole point why I am here to restore the tribe of mother through the correction of the harmonics of the universe. So I don't have tribalism. Of course, so look, I'm an Irish woman. I love being Irish, but I don't ascribe to separation
Mm.
really deeply. I don't. It's not really in me. I find it very hard to have boundaries, and I sometimes I step on people's toes, because of that. So, but what I was there to do was to make the sound of the mother's womb. And people call it the heart, but I saw it as a womb because to me, the womb is a heart. It's the place of pure love. The purest love I can think of is in the womb. Um, and this was to open up all the channels to allow the convergence, the continued convergence until it's done, not just of those people there.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and
because
those
it's
those
still
people were,
happening. It's still
yeah,
going
and
on.
everyone was doing, like, I can't say what everyone else was doing, so I'm not saying what I did in relation to anyone else or anything else. I'm just saying exactly what I did and why
Hmm.
I was there.
Hmm. Yep.
But and I don't fully know what everyone else did because I've just been so busy. There's been no kind of, everyone was so activated from that, and it was a freeing, and it's like the division of the tribes, that was because of a disruption in the bloodlines. That was from the electrical
Oh.
wars.
Mm.
So the everything I'm doing is about returning the one tribe that work under the one frequency of mother. So there's
Hmm.
no division. whatsoever, you know?
And that doesn't mean that everything is the same. It's the opposite. It
Yeah.
means that the differences are celebrated, and it's like
Hmm.
a spice that is it is not just respected. It is cherished.
Yes.
Yeah.
All it is um unity in the way of resonance. That's
Mm-hmm.
all. So it's just core sound resonance. Everything within that is do as you wish, but it's like a shoal of fish, let's say. You know, it's just sound, it's just cohesion through resonance. So within the cell, within the body, within the grouping, within the whole of humanity, there isn't it, firstly within the cell, there isn't dysfunction, disease, hatred.
Right.
And
Right.
that just
Healthy.
extrapolates out into a grouping of people. Like, you know, all of these things are just a malformation. Anything of like dysfunction of our light bodies or hateful divisions, wanting to kill each other.
It's
None
not
of
our
that
nature.
is normal. Yeah.
Yeah, it's not our
Yeah,
nature. Yeah,
that's disease. Yeah, so
exactly.
it's
Yeah.
yeah, it's just a frequency correction. Um, but pure freedom within that to be whatever you want, you know, but you'll be within the frequency,
Yes,
you know.
yes,
Yeah,
exactly.
yeah.
Yeah. So, okay. So you went there a second time, and
Yes.
how,
That time that time I came home. I was exhausted because I fell and I was just exhausted and I was like, I've done enough. I've been to Tara twice. I took off my water stone and I was crying and I said I'm ready for my queen stone.
okay.
And just at my kitchen table and this beautiful woman, Christy from America, reached out. She had um I must have done yeah, I had done Sasha because she had seen me on Sasha. So it was like Sasha, Tara, Emerald Convergence, and then got my ruby necklace. And she said, I'll make you anything at all. And I said, okay, please, a queen necklace. And I didn't say what stone or anything.
Aha.
And she had a ruby and she had pearls. And she said, let me make ruby and pearls. And I was just crying my eyes out,
Oh, I
crying,
bet
crying.
you.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. So that's how that came. So now I have
Mm.
that.
Mm-hmm.
So
Mm-hmm.
grateful for that. That was a gift from Christy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes. And what a confirmation, of this whole Ruby
Mm,
Templar father, the sacred
yeah.
masculine coming back. Yeah.
Yeah. It was beautiful. It was like a portal was opened and I identified with Sasha because his heart is exceptionally clear. And I was wondering how, because the heart
After what he's been through. Yeah.
yeah, well, I don't know his story, but I can guess because I
Mm-hmm.
know everyone with that kind of heart, what was the target was on them, right? But I just wondered how I was just watching him, like, observing, like, how did this stay in one piece,
Yeah.
and like how? And what I felt it was his voice because he's constantly dispelling. So, like because we are have been bombarded with false frequencies, false sound. And when I see him dispelling, it's almost like he's pushing that out of his body with the force of his heart. So
Mm-hmm.
that also led me, that was just an interesting thing to know that this is how you protect the heart by speaking out with passion. You can actually keep your heart clear this way.
Mm.
So that was a wonderful thing to notice because that is something striking because our hearts have largely taken quite a beating.
Mm.
Mm,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah. Yeah. That
yeah,
brings us back to the throat. And
mm,
so,
yeah,
how did I get to the throat? Because so now you go after that event, after you got your ruby, at some
yeah.
point you're called to go to Skellig.
To Skellig, yeah, and
How
with my
did that come
brother.
about?
Well,
Like,
my
whose
brother,
idea was it?
he had to go. He had to go over there to to help Rion out. Rion
Mm.
wasn't there anymore, but he had to
Hmm.
just go there to help as part of Rion's team light.
Okay.
And I just said, um, he tried to go another day without me. and I knew he wouldn't be able to go. He had to bring me. So he tried
Mm-hmm.
to go and the boat wasn't running. And I was just, in the background saying, well, you know, I'm supposed to be there.
Yeah.
You know, so I'll go too. I say, okay. So we went together and the boat was fine. I won't be going again unless it's on helicopter. The boat,
Oh,
I'm not made
yeah.
for boats.
Me
I'm not
either.
made for small
I'm
boats.
made for the water, but not for
Yeah,
boats.
not on a boat. But so I went with my brother, so we both had something to do. I didn't know what I was doing, as always. But when the Arcturus ship showed up, I was like, okay, and it had already showed up earlier in the week, and a cloud formation of a dolphin whale. So I knew I had something to do. So yeah, that's why I ended up there.
Right. And
Mm.
how did you know when you went into the bee hut
Mm.
and you stepped over that stone?
Mm.
How did you know it was that there it was a 0 point, what you were the vortex that
Um,
you were feeling?
okay. So first of all, on the way up on the steps, there was an opening and a formation forming in the clouds. So like a portal was opening. And I'd had a conversation with David Emery, and he was talking about the Ark of the Covenant is at Skellig. I don't know what those words, I didn't know what those words mean. I'm still grappling with that. But anyway, when I went into the bee hut, first of all, I saw the whalestone. But when I went into the bee hut, it was just so quiet. And it was the only nice energy on the island, actually. It was the only place I felt peace on the whole
Mm,
island. I
mm,
didn't enjoy the island till I got to that space and I just felt pure peace.
mm.
It was beautiful. Yeah. And I offered my ruby to the place, just to say, because I had been writing a children's story before, a couple of years ago, that this little girl who had a ruby pendant from her grandmother um, went into the body of a whale, placed the ruby into the motherboard, into the rib cage of the whale, and it lit up and it started traveling towards to find the golden mother dragon under the sea, this big whale. Yeah,
Oh my God.
yeah.
This
The
is
whale's
bringing
name
up
was
so much
Mamu.
stuff.
The whale's name was Mamu. She was this like big ancient mother whale. This is a children's story. So I'm there with my Ruby, thinking of my children's story. Okay, I'll just like pop it in the motherboard. And so I just offered it. And I saw the blue rings, the sapphire rings. This is the sapphire frequency that I'm working with to restore coming in through the beehive. And then I got the message. The motherboards of I felt the whale come to life that I was within. I got the message that the motherboards of the whales have been brought to the command of love. And I saw the blue sapphire frequency traveling down through Skellig, through like pipelines into the landmass of Ireland and beyond.
Mm.
And I was
See, and
told that,
that's the throat.
mm, yeah,
That's the
and
blue.
the whole grid of humanity's consciousness was brought to the command of love. That's what I
See
knew in that
now.
moment. Yeah.
Oh my gosh. And it's now it's just warm. It's coming together.
Oh,
Um,
wonderful.
because it's called Skellig Michael.
Mm,
It's so the stairway and Sacha was talking on the Hill of Tara. He was saying that this was, and when he was saying this, I had it like I envisioned it. I saw it in my mind, and he,
mm.
he said that it's like the Hill of Tara is where the I don't know how much of this maybe is coming from my own imagination, and I don't remember what he said and what it was
That's
that I
okay.
got then from what. But where the well, first of all, the kings, it was the coronation place where the true kings, the real kings. What are the real
Mm.
kings? That's another interesting, because they were dragon kings. And so what's a
Mm.
dragon king? But we're not going to go on that tangent now. But we will, I think.
That sounds like fun. I want to do that.
It's all just coming through. Um, So, but the real kings, these are not the ones that are in it for power. These are, and I think this has to do with the bloodlines, but it's not like, oh, keep the power in the bloodline. It's not about power. It's about holding space. It's about love. It's about stewardship. It's about being like the focalizer and the kind of like a guide for the people. It's where everything like it's not having power over. It's a steward. It's that stewardship. So that's the real kingship. And he said that the beings from a higher dimension or so, they would come down and they would crown the true kings. And so it's the stairway from heaven. It's where I read a whole book that's coming in from Amin Rizi, Swiss man, and he calls it, the book is called Light Beings, and it's his whole like archaeological and everything, his whole science and study where he brought it all together, showing how there was a time, and it is said, it is often said, oh, this was the time when the gods were walking on earth. And I'm not talking about the Anunnaki gods, because they're not gods. But I believe that there was a time when what we now refer to in the word gods, that there were creator beings, and they were able to terraform. These were beings from higher dimensions. They could walk on earth together with humans. But okay, I didn't want to go with that, but okay, so the light beings, they were here, and I saw one, by the way. I was shown one in my vision. So I was like, now I understand the gods that were walking on earth. But I'll share that maybe another time. And so I'm seeing, okay, Michael, what is Michael? I'm just thinking Archangel Michael. That's the only Michael I know. And but whether, because there's also this thing where several of the, in this AI war, in this war of the machine against the organic, basically. That is like, it's not only in our universe has been befallen by these parasitical by this parasitical AI, which takes over bodies and so it can show up and seem to be organic because it can take over minds, so where am I now? Archangel Michael, hold on. How did I get to why did I mention this now with why did I mention this? I don't know, but Archangel Michael. So the archangels, don't exactly know what they are, but this is also coming into the understanding what are the archangels and not. Okay, but the rays, so there are the different, this is what I explained in the video. So there are the different rays, the different, depending on our space-time vantage point, the different chakras have the different rays because of the wheels, how they are tilted. And so they have that angle to source, like let's say to the sun, to just the white light, the pure light that hasn't been bent yet, that's coming from the 0 point. And then depending on how it hits the tilt angle, and so that's what makes the different rays, which are the different chakras, and they all have flavors and themes, just like the light has a different frequency, has a different sound, just like tones, they have different themes. And so this is, and Archangel Michael is the one that is said to be the highest. Oh, this is why I said, okay, we have to be careful with the names and the labels, because Archangel Michael was one of those figures, just like they've done through Jesus, the figure, how they were siphoning off, how they were, I'm speaking now of the past, how they were siphoning off our energy, how we would give our energy away to, because of the mind, of the beliefs, because of the beliefs. And so Archangel Michael was one of those siphoning off portals. I'm of course not speaking about that. I'm speaking about what I don't fully grasp yet. What is this, Michael? Yes. But let's just say it is a sacred, it is a sacred consciousness complex. Let's just call it living consciousness complex. Let's just call it that for now. And it's the, because I know that this is exactly what wants to come, what wants to open up now. What is coming in the when we will go deeper, where this is leading us to, this whole what we're, this convergence, what this is leading us to, at least from my perspective. Michael and Mary is the feminine hierogamic union of the Michael energies, and these two, they have these lines that, and I know this because I didn't know this before, but I remembered it's somewhere. It was in my it was set in my memory, and then my friend had said once and showed me the stones that everywhere there are these ley lines, and there are these certain energy currents, and in the old days they had milestones, and they even had here in Germany you would find little chapels. They're called Mary chapels, you know, and then they have these milestones, and some of them they said this is a Mary line, and I remember, oh yes, Marienlinie, Mary line, yes. So the Mary line is the Michael Mary line, and this apparently this is the blue ray. So, and this is about the throat, and you were mentioning and then okay, and then skellig Michael, the stairway of Michael, and then you say you go into a 0 point there and you pull in the sapphire, which is blue. That is exactly that blue ray color, and it's exactly in a stone. Well, because when that frequency goes through a crystal, it produces then a sapphire crystal comes out of that. So and then you say you were sitting there on the stairway. This is how I would say it, Michael. And you're pulling in sapphire frequency. And then David Emery says that the Ark of the Covenant, and apparently there are several. So this is what Sacha said. Apparently there are several. But when we hear this term, what I think about is the Ark of the Covenant that was taken by Moses, you know, out of Egypt. And what I learned that it was not the, and it so made sense when I heard this. This is also a brilliant German a researcher and historian and archaeologist, Peter von Liechtenstein, and he's also bringing like opening up the old distorted history, and it's coming out, okay, let's look at it. How about this? Let's look at it from this point of view, you know. And he's getting this actually because like, let's say a person, just a really quick tangent, it all fits in, someone like Solomon. Yeah, so King Solomon is actually came to him as a presence and said, okay, we're writing a book now about, you know, about me and this time what happened, because these beings that used to live here, and there's so much distortion around them and so much falseness about them, they want to they come and help us, or also speak through us to rectify, because now everything is coming back into truth, into alignment and attunement. And so he said that there were never the 10 commandments in the and he said, look, the people that were living in those days, they were not stupid. They didn't need these commandments, you know. This is like yeah, duh, yeah, don't kill, you know. They didn't need to be told that. And you know, that's that. And so what was in there apparently, and this is again also Nassim Haramein's work, who I also, he's like one of my go-to scientists, but I appreciate him so much, that there were these hexagonal cones, sapphire stones, and the two of them in the Ark of the Covenant, and they produced a singularity, and that's a portal.
Yeah.
Yeah, singularity, that's a portal. So if David Emery says that there is the portal of the Ark of the Covenant, like he said, somewhere above Michael Skellig. So it's higher.
Yes.
So this could be, I just got that. It could be that it's either a ship, it's in a ship, or it could be in a higher dimension where the mountain is still higher or something like that. It doesn't really matter, but this how it is coming together. You can see.
Yeah, no, it made sense after Skellig, and I've since talked to David that he said it's a portal, and he said it's a portal that brings the frequency, or I don't know the perfect words, but basically the love of Andromeda to us. That's what,
Okay.
he said other words, but I honed in on the word love. Right? It's a portal goes all the way to Andromeda, which is where I'm from, and it brings the frequency of this high, like you say, we didn't need the Ten Commandments. We were bound by love, not by anyone outside of us, but because it's the highest intelligence. It's
Yeah.
truth, is love. We are to love what sustains us. That's just naturally when you have
It's just natural,
self-love, without this disease and dysfunction, why would you want to harm yourself or others?
Exactly. Yeah.
It's completely, inorganic, that frequency. So that was recognized, like that portal was
So this is
opened.
interesting that you say
Yeah.
it's from, I didn't catch that it's from or to or a connection to Andromeda. What
Yeah.
comes to mind is that I've heard several times, and I've seen it in a picture too, that it is said that the Milky Way and Andromeda used to be together, and then they split, and that they're now coming back together. They're merging
Okay.
again. So apparently galaxies, and this only makes sense, that two come together and merge, and then they create something new, a third
Okay.
energy.
Yeah.
So apparent, and then maybe it's the twin, maybe the Andromeda is the twin of Milky Way, and that is what has also been happening, because there's so many cycles coming to an end and and forming anew, even on the universal level. So it will also be on the galactic level, and that is what is happening also.
Wow. Okay.
Oh, right. Well,
Yeah.
important. It wasn't a natural occurrence that they split apart, apparently. Now I remember it was a part of this AI war.
Yeah.
That it was pulled out, that we as the Milky Way was pulled out, and the Milky Way is Hathor. That's I just learned, I just got that from Rob Comber, and when that came through, it also clicked, because Hathor is the cow goddess. Yeah, she has
Okay.
sometimes depicted with a cow head, and she gives the milk, and she's also the one depicted giving the milk in the statues, the Egyptian statues giving the milk, and so she represents the Milky Way galaxy.
Okay. Wow.
So
Your video was so
it's a female,
beautiful.
it's female. Okay, so let me see. Pulling the energy through. You said you offered your ruby stone. Did you actually leave the stone there, or was it like how?
Oh no,
No.
absolutely not. Not at all. No, I offered the vibration to open, to reactivate the motherboard. So what I was shown also in that moment, that AI, the parasitic network, um, my friend Kanaya just calls it the subconscious system, the shadow system. was utilizing, utilizing humanity's consciousness, right? Or holding the space, like being a placeholder, we could say, until everyone woke up out of amnesia.
Mm-hmm.
What I was shown is that the only way this whale would awaken was from the vibration of the ruby. So there was something just organic that was that was and I was told in general, the eternal infrastructure, all the bits and pieces that we need as angelic creators, they are contained within a frequency key. Like there's a resonance shield, and it is vibration of, I would guess purity, you know, I don't know, but I can say in that moment it was the ruby heart, the ruby frequency that opened up, that reactivated the whale.
Yes, and that
Yeah.
is the corresponding stone to the sapphire, is the ruby.
Okay.
And these nodes in the Kabbalah tree of life, which is it's not the original version, and it's not it only has 10 sephirots, and it's the I don't want to say necessarily distorted. I don't want to just say, oh, it's not worth anything, or oh, it's completely a lie. No, it is simply limited. It's a limited from the organic
Mm-hmm.
original whole 12 tree. It's not the tree of Kabbalah. It's called the kathara tree of life. It's the
Mm-hmm.
crystal spiral, and so the Kabbalah is where it's not all in the right place, and two are missing. And this was, however, this was how it was for us. We didn't have it. We were out of alignment. We were hijacked. We were overlaid and siphoned off, and so it was like a showing us, well, this is how it is right now,
Mm-hmm.
and the nodes there, they're called zephirot.
Mm-hmm.
Some can call them, they can be called sephira, but also zephirot, and that means red sapphire.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Wow. I was shown something when you speak of that crystal spiral
Mm-hmm.
that's coming, and people are, feeling and seeing the differences and feeling the correction of that. So the frequency, the physical way I have of describing the frequency of Andromeda is a rose. It is, um, the love and the intelligence of a rose, and how a rose expands in this concentric intelligence. That is how we are to expand. But I was told that it is the frequency of the rose that begins the spiral. So again, anyone outside of the frequency of the rose, outside of the frequency of love, will not have access to their spiral. So, and I don't wish that upon anyone. I just say that to say that, we are being brought back to
Mm.
resonant permission.
Mm.
There's no
Mm.
gatekeepers. There's no need for gatekeepers or, a heavy hand. You either resonate and open your mechanics of creation, or you
Mm-hmm.
don't.
Yeah.
And so we've actually been brought to the place before choice, the place before the bad road could be chosen. Now, people can choose whatever they want, but the mechanics of creation, including the spiral, they will not be generated by duality energies, by
Mm.
lack energies, by shadow energies anymore.
Yes.
They have been completely brought back to pure love, and I see it as gold, like
Mm-hmm.
golden love.
Mm-hmm.
So,
I don't know if you
yeah.
caught that in my video. It was just in one picture in that video because I'd already covered it. But
Mm,
the rose is the top-down view of the harmonic cascade. So if you
okay.
maybe remember the harmonic cascade, this cone where
Mm-hmm.
the energy spirals down into uh, beyond tiniest Planck scale, you know, it packs and
Mm-hmm.
packs, and it goes faster, and then beyond light speed, how the energy goes into the 0 point, into any chakra, any portal.
Mm-hmm.
And this is
Wow.
at the center of, well, at the center of every being that is whole unto itself. So
Mm-hmm.
this, what is a being already whole unto itself, is already a plasmoid. It's already an atom, you know, a cell, and so
Mm-hmm.
forth. And at the center of that, there's always a tiny little 0 point where the light comes through, the sun, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And so you know a torus. I don't have one here.
Mm-hmm.
I'm looking. But y'all know what that looks like. And
Mm-hmm.
so when we say the donut, yeah. So
Yeah.
when you look at it from the whole, like what, when you look at it from the vortex, you look it down the throat,
Mm-hmm.
that's a rose,
Okay.
you know. And so
Yeah.
that means that this is how the tiniest
Beautiful.
piece of the quark, which is the
Mm-hmm.
tiniest piece we have officially uh, um, officially discovered. So that's the tetrahedron. Um, which is also, that is the tetragrammaton of the Jewish religion. You know, and why I say this is because it all comes originally from knowledge, and then they made religion out of it. So, and then how it comes out. So it goes into that portal, and then it goes out on the other side of the portal, weaving the different fabrics, different layers of reality, of frequency, weaving them together. And then it distributes it. It takes that cascade again, and expands and packs itself
Mm.
out, and the unpacking then of the geometry to become then your whole being, you know, whatever your physical body then is, or if it's, whether it's physical in this dimension or another dimension, doesn't matter, it's always the same principle. It packs through exactly as you said, as that
Mm-hmm.
rose, in that pattern, in that
Okay.
yeah, in that, would you say pattern, shape, I guess. Yeah.
Wow. That is beautiful. That is really helpful.
And they
Um,
used to build, you know, the Freemasons that used to
mm,
be, before maybe they were called Freemasons, but
mm,
it was this knowledge that the builders had to
mm-hmm.
build the architecture that supports our biology, that is that
Yeah.
brings us in harmony, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And they would build cities like roses.
Yeah.
And an example for this is Prague.
Mm.
And I've been to Prague several times, and I always felt I loved that city. I really
That's
felt good in that.
beautiful.
Yeah.
I was shown a vision of this is, this is why I want to speak about the father's heart for another second. Um, the father's heart, or the masculine component of the heart, begins time. So, and it also is was the beginning of the false timelines. So, the the interruption, the interference of the father's, the masculine part of the heart, in my mind, in my knowing, caused the bad timelines, let's say, or the timelines out of love. And it is the correction of the masculine part of the heart, which is the impulse, the heartbeat, which is fueled by these corrected bloodlines. This is why I'm correcting the bloodlines, so the father's heart can do what it needs to do, which is begin time. Um, I want to speak about. I was shown. This is just to correlate with that as well. I was shown a vision that through this one particular man that I knew, through his heart, I was shown this vision that could walk through his heart, and it would be like the Taj Mahal. And somehow his heart, like walking through his heart, would that would in his heart wouldn't have the knowing of the architecture of the upholding of the rose. And I was shown that that's how we know how to, like you said, build these architectures that support and uphold our angelic biology. I've shown the pathway, the eternal architecture, the knowing of it all is already there. And I've always say to everyone, all it will take is a change of heart. That's why I expect everything to happen just like that. Because I know
Mm,
it's just a change of heart. Everything changes overnight in a
mhm,
moment, you know.
mm,
Yeah. So,
mhm.
and like that masculine part of the heart, that father's heart, that is here. I'm feeling that emerging within us. What I'm feeling now is this rose breath. So that would be the toroidal field, right? That would be the use of our own energy. What I'm
Yes.
feeling is this beautiful inhale that is going all the way into the rose frequency and exhaling that out around us. That is what I see as I see this rose in the center of on the sternum. I see the lungs filled with rainbow. Like it's the breath is, to me, breath is love. Breath is the first offering of love. And I see that our breath has been corrected. Our breath has been brought back to the frequency of love. And what is happening as we are practicing this rose breath, and the rose is showing up to many different people at the moment, it's bringing our toroidal field to the frequency of love. And what that means, parasites of every nature, but I'm particularly thinking of energetic nature, cannot exist. They cannot coexist with the frequency
No,
of love
no.
in that denseness.
Yeah.
When our toroidal field is actually contained by the frequency of love in that kind of swirling denseness, it
Hmm.
can't exist. So what we're seeing is everything coming, bubbling out of the body, everything coming into the field. Like I'm being shown, just check on this for a second, and I see somebody's shadow behavior that I hadn't seen before, or like it's just everywhere.
Hmm.
And I would just offer that it is in that moment, it is just to not, like, it's just to be shown this, whatever this is, if it's a person, if it's a life choice, if it's a pathway, this does not coexist with love. So let it go. And that you're not casting anyone into a bad place. Everyone is free to be of the frequency of love. But as we are, restoring our mechanics of creation, getting all of our creational abilities back by the frequency key of love, there does seem to be like there just has to be a separation. I don't know if that's the right word, but like a cleaning out, if you know what I mean. That's what I'm feeling. There has to be some kind of weeding out of our energetic space at the moment. That's what's happening for me anyway, you know.
Yeah, I think, what are you talking about, relationships?
Um, Relationships, habits, thought
Ah,
patterns,
mm,
everything
hmm,
that's, within the system,
yeah,
that isn't love.
hmm, yeah.
That,
So I have this challenge, and this is also why I know that I was still attacked. I know that,
mm-hmm,
oh yeah, sure, I know I still have a part in me
mm-hmm,
that I cannot love, that where
mm-hmm,
I have not been able to forgive myself yet for, so
okay.
I know they're still coming because there's an access point, that I
Yeah.
haven't healed yet.
Mm-hmm,
um and what I've learned so far is, because I still can't just say, oh yeah, I forgive myself.
mm-hmm,
It's not something you can practice or say or just do if it's not already happened. If it didn't,
yeah.
like, oh, I forgave myself. Oh, I'm
This
okay
is,
with that. And
yeah.
it didn't happen. It didn't happen yet. So
Mm,
it the way that I hold that is that it came to me is that it's okay. I don't have to love myself. I don't have to
mm,
love anybody else. So
mm,
if there's a place that I don't love, it's okay.
mm,
And I can love myself in spite of having a part of me that
mm-hmm,
cannot love itself.
that's powerful. Mm.
And so then I accept that there is a part of me that hasn't been able, and I go into trust that
Mm-hmm.
everything that is arranging in my life is that it is a part of that. I will bit by bit get to the point where it can release, where it can happen,
Yeah.
you know. Yeah.
Yeah. We are filling out. We're filling out with the frequency of love. It is happening, like, because it's because humanity's consciousness without love, we were heading towards the end of humanity
Oh yeah.
because of that consciousness. So there is great faith. I have so much faith and peace. Like you said, when it comes up, the part that you can, how can I pretend I love this? When that comes up, I have so much peace in knowing that this is happening, regardless of what I do about it. you know, and but it's a really good question, because I came with this thought the other day, like, what is the frequency? So if I'm saying, okay, love is the frequency that is going to dissolve everything but the beautiful golden creator self, what is the frequency that allows these things to come back into my life? You know, the word that comes to me is shame. And I've always seen shame as like a fog of separation. It's like a black smoke. Um, that's the word I have for myself right now. Like, that is the frequency which, um, if we're going to say the shadow, or the negative subconscious, or the parasitic creator energy, well, not creator, but that siphoning energy comes through shame. And this would make a lot of sense to me, because um, in order to hijack the masculine men and the masculine electrical principle, um, sodomy was used specifically to create that shame in men, in
Yeah,
boys,
I don't
in the
exactly know what that
consciousness.
means, but I don't know if I want to know what it means, because then my mind is going to go there and I don't
Oh,
want to.
just, yeah,
Yeah, but
just
it's something terrible.
interference.
Yeah, yeah, I
Yeah.
know it's something, and I can
Mm,
imagine what it has to do with sexuality, I think, right?
mm. Yeah, I'm just seeing how the shame is almost the birthplace of the shadow dragon. That it's
Right.
almost the birthplace of the
Okay.
fracture that allows the shadow dragon. And dragon is a word, right? But I just mean a
Yeah.
dragon, a force, a shadow force, to
Yeah.
come in and kind of purpose the light body, and
Right.
like, rise up and rise down, rise up and rise down. And then that shame also creates a need for the puritanical overlord. You have this, like, hardness, like,
Ah.
behave yourself, you have to behave like this, you can't do this,
Ah,
you can't drink,
yeah.
you can't smoke, you can't have sex, you can't,
So the
whatever the different.
patriarchal, like,
Yeah, yeah, so
you know,
that's, yeah, that's needed because of the rising shame.
which is
Mm.
exactly this patriarchal, like the church, this, you're allowed to do this, and when you do this, you're a sinner, you're bad,
Yeah. Hmm.
and I've, oh God, yeah. um
Yeah.
I just witnessed it once in the Philippines, in like a born again
Mm.
Christian church or so, the whole congregation, because that's how, we were our ways of congregating,
Mm.
community has been like split apart. And so one of the most powerful ways to find community is through the church. And where, like, there was
Yeah.
this man, he had adulterated, and they were like
Hmm.
all all on him, like, oh, you were bad, now you're good, we welcome you back into
Mm.
our. Oh my God, he was so full of shame. And
Hmm.
anyways, I realized that it is exactly because we are, in our nature, we are free beings.
Mm.
Freedom is our natural frequency.
Yeah.
And so when then now you have this is good, this is bad. And instantly, there was something the other day where someone said, like, anyways, you're not allowed to do this, and I'm like, I instantly want to do it just
Yeah.
because he said that. Even though it's not actually my thing, right? But instantly
Yeah.
when there's like a no, you're a bad person if you do this,
Mm-hmm.
there's almost like a magnet to pull you to do it. Yeah, that's what I mean.
Yeah,
It
that's what keeps
creates the
you in
opposite.
this up and
Yes,
down.
yes.
But I'm finding now I'm dissolving. So the impediment to my complete self-love is that voice of shame that tells me, oh, if you were a better mother, you're not a good enough mother, you're not a good enough sister, you're not a good enough whatever. It's that voice that is the subconscious negative voice that doesn't belong. That does not belong, but it comes, right? And it
Mm,
creates a whole world around the people, even around the people you're thinking about. So even if you're thinking these shameful things about yourself, but it's in relation to other people, you've kind of whipped a whole world around these people as well that has nothing to do with them. And in the same way, you can kind of whip a whole love world around these people. So that's a habit because, and what I've been doing the last while, I like when you spoke of spells, I have spells within, that have been absorbed in my sound body where I have been told criticisms or attacks, insults, different things. And I'm finding with this rose breath, watching them dissolving, watching them leaving my sound body, because my sound body is of the mother. It's the chant. It's this like deep breath in, fill up with the sound of mother, which is pure love, and that is to be my sound body. My
mhm,
whole body, my energy body, all of us, is to be held together in the direction with the direction and intention of pure love.
mhm.
So when we have these little pokey thoughts, um, that they're trying to use our light body against us. They're trying to use our
Yes.
intelligence against us and our emotions against us and even our generating. So we might end up generating something bad.
Mhm, mhm,
So I'm just getting very clear on that and
mhm.
clearing myself like just with the rose breath seems to be the most efficient way of doing
So
that.
if I may offer something to that,
Mm.
as you say so nicely, um, here's how I hear you're saying it. Here's how I hear it, and how
Yeah.
my approach would be to, and is
Mm-hmm.
not just would be, is to this,
Mm.
and that is so shame. You
Mm.
say it comes from it's all through shame. That's like the first
Mm.
where it separates, where
Yeah.
it brings us off out of alignment. And I would say we feel shame because
Mm.
our true self knows exactly what is right and what is wrong. And
Yeah.
I'm not, I'm, because I hear it so many times. Every time I cringe when someone says there's no right and wrong. For me,
Mm.
it's clear there is right and wrong.
Mm.
And yeah, of course, we're not from the perspective of the absolute, but that's not where we're coming from.
Mm.
So um because we know what is right and wrong, because we are light beings, and our soul is made of love, uh we are ashamed when we do something that is shameful, or when we do now of course there's also that is something that is actually maybe not shameful, but you believe it's
Mm-hmm.
shameful. But now let's say something that is actually wrong and bad, and let's just call that shameful because you did
Mm.
something bad. Or you can just say I feel bad about it, and use the word shame.
Mm.
um, that's actually, so when you have shame, it shows you that you actually you have that sense, it's wrong.
Mm.
And it's because we know it's wrong, and it feels so awful that we did something that was so shameful, that we push ourselves away and turn against ourselves. And now we have the split inside, and that becomes the shadow because we don't want to have anything to do with it. And because something else needs to fill this shadow, and then comes because that's off balance, It's not in the truth, because it's it's pretending that's not me.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to have anything to do with that. That's not
Mm.
me. So there's a pretense, and then that's out of balance, and then comes the need for that to balance that out. And that's how the false, like as you said, like the false guru or the false light,
Mm.
like, oh, I am holier than thou personality comes along,
Yeah. Mm.
so the way that I would say, it's not to let go. It's not to let go of
Mm.
that, but it is. But I think you meant something else, and I'll
Mm.
mend that. Um, it's to actually allow ourselves to feel that shame, and really allow
Mm.
ourselves to feel. And it's okay to also, you know, not only it's okay, but to say, yeah, I know I did something bad. I know that was really terrible, and I am so sorry. And that's where the whole Ho'oponopono comes in. It's that whole, okay, I may never, this amount of how sorry I am is so infinite.
Mm.
I may never not be sorry. I may be sorry forever. But
Mm.
that's important, that's our authentic self, is that we
Yeah.
feel sorry. And uh, what I think you were talking about, I have this, absolutely, I have this, is the negative voice, yeah. And
You know what it is? It's
mhm,
like, so what it is projections from people who wanted me or expected me from their place of fracture to fulfill a finite request, who came to me, and then when they did not receive what they wanted or received the full answer of who I am, projected onto me, their shadow, their words against me.
mhm,
So in these things that I'm dissolving now, that have caught on to me in a tender way, they're not anything I feel sorry about. They are like kind of attachments or spells from somebody who didn't get to have their way with
mhm,
me, who wanted to kind of fill the gap where I wasn't in fullness, who wanted to have some kind of ownership or some kind of entitlement over me. So
yeah, and that can
it's
also
not
be
a it,
apparent.
yeah, it's not a place of sorry. It's a place of pushing out. It's a place of, this isn't mine,
Yes,
and
yes,
pushing it out. Yeah.
that's different. Then you're not, then you're actually, and as you are re-inhabiting yourself and receiving yourself again,
Mm,
which means feeling yourself with your heart,
yeah.
allowing yourself to feel that which feels bad, and what you don't like about yourself, and it's just all through
Mm,
the feeling.
mm,
um, that's how it recalibrates and becomes whole again.
yeah.
um, in that, we now can discern what is our true voice and what is something that was projected onto me.
Yes,
And
that's what's going
once
on.
it's recognized,
Mm,
when the discernment comes in, you recognize it.
mm,
It doesn't have any power over you anymore. You don't
yeah.
listen to it, and that's I think
Yeah.
what you mean with push it out.
This
Because
is,
there's
yeah, this is the great separation within the body. It's like the more amped up the love frequency is, which is breath, it comes on breath. So it's every moment is love. Every breath, I am love. Breath is the greatest gift of love. So every breath I take is love, giving love to me, So as this is filling my body, everything that is not that, um, is just d separating from me.
Mhm.
Yeah, it's to
Yeah.
separate because it cannot, because these things you're talking about, memories or like loops, or
Mhm.
patterns,
Mhm.
thought
Mhm.
patterns, um, relationships. So it's not something that's like an active, Yeah, it's like stuff that just got stuck, like
Yeah.
stagnant.
And
Yeah,
you know what
yeah.
keeps it stuck? What keeps it
Mm,
stuck is our power, so our attention,
mm.
and
Yes.
especially when we believe in it. So when we're
Yeah,
unconscious, we don't know that this is not a voice that is truth, that is speaking truth, and
yeah.
it's not. It may be our voice, but it's not.
Mm,
It's something we took on, and it's not speaking truth.
yeah,
So when we don't know that, and then we would just think it's us, it's who we are,
yeah,
and that's also when we don't like ourselves oftentimes
yeah,
because we're not authentic, right?
yeah.
And so what was I saying now? When we hear it, what were you saying just now?
Um, how the breath of love is just pushing everything that isn't feeding me, that isn't nourishing me or growing
That's
me,
right.
just pushing it out. Yeah.
Sorry, that's exactly what it is. So
Mm,
it's the
yeah.
belief that is, however unconscious, that's
Hmm.
holding on, that's feeding it. So once
Yeah.
we realize, yeah, it it can come in through, we can come at it from many different ways, but when once we
Mm,
realize, okay, this is not speaking the truth,
mm-hmm.
I remember this voice, I remember believing in it, I remember not
Mm,
even hearing it consciously and just thinking that was me, but now I can hear it, and it's just this old record playing in the background, and now I can
mm.
laugh about it with my higher self because, oh, that record is still going, yeah, but no,
Yeah.
there's nothing. And it's now now it's funny because I feel sometimes like, I mean, it's not always fun, but I feel
Mm,
like I have like a feels like Tourette's, in my mind, where it
mm.
just spits out, sometimes it just spits out these really shadow stupid things that is not me at all,
Yeah.
right? And sometimes it's so ridiculously dark,
Mm,
and maybe it's an attachment, even, who knows.
mm.
um but it's like, it's I can laugh about it now.
Yeah.
It's so ridiculously not me that I can laugh. It's like, oh, okay, you're still there, I don't have a problem with it. And because
Yeah.
I don't have a problem with it and I allow it, what am I going to do? Push it
Mm-hmm.
away? It's just going to make it stronger. So it's
Mm-hmm.
gonna it's gonna run out,
Yeah, you just keep breathing.
run out of
That's all
steam.
there is.
Yeah,
Yeah. Just
literally
keep
it will run
breathing.
out of
Yeah.
steam.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
feel like the only thing to do now is keep breathing, returning, like to know if we could just get into the consciousness that breath is love, that every breath we take is actually love. It's love for who we are, it's love for our sustenance, love for our survival, love for our flourishment. And all of those things that come up, and sometimes things that come up within me that have been within, and they're being agitated now because of the increase in love frequency. It has
Mm.
to come out in a loud way. It has to be heard. It has to be maybe shouted. It has to come out in a loud way because I am dispelling it. I am pushing that out of my body, and I'm witnessing it in the moment as it's being released.
Mm.
Um, so I never look at myself in a harsh way with those things, or
Mm.
anyone. I feel like what I have been told now is decision, manifestation. It's how to bring the light body into purpose, to bring the light body into forward movement, and in that forward movement, it breaks up the stagnation. It wakes up the stagnation. It shakes it up. It shakes out all of the things that are holding us back. So I am just holding a very strong vision at the moment of what I need, what I want next for my life. And this is what I'm hoping to invite for people at the moment, because I feel like we have had a lot of rumination and regrets and sadness, and all of that is understandable because we have been put through the hoop. Really every woman that comes to me, and man too, has stories of being just put through the hoops. And a friend of mine said that these are initiations, Mary. I said, what? These things are killing me. She said, no, this is initiation. You know, you're being put through initiations to like to rise into your fullness. And it's like
Yeah.
now it's like, so okay, how do we make that fullness fully even be stronger? Okay, choose direction. And this is the Father's heart speaking.
Yes.
It's
Yes.
choose direction,
Mm-hmm.
send a vision out from the heart, and just hold on to that one thing. Or maybe people can do multiple things, but I have one thing that I'm visualizing now. That is the next needed upgrade or expansion for my life. Um, and I just want to offer that to people because it's in the doing of that, it's in the utilization of our powers, our creational powers, that we will see how glorious they are. And it's in the utilization of our creational powers in the frequency of love that we will see how loved we are. We'll actually be able to bear witness to and give glory to the love that we actually are. And I just feel, speaking with a friend, I said, I want to stop, having friendships or relationships that tell me I'm unlovable, that remind me I'm unlovable. I want to stop those connections. I don't want to have a relationship with someone where I have to argue my point. Let's not do that. Like, let me set up things that prove to me that I am love, that the world is love, that everything moves forward on the frequency of love. And that everything, that the world is abundant and giving and loving and compassionate and wants everything good to come. Like, I see the elements, all the tiniest pieces are already programmed for love inherently. Everything in nature works best on the frequency of love. And it is our position then as creators to, on the frequency of love only, because that's all that will work, to utilize these pieces, these formless, deconstructed pieces, and call for the vision, give them a purpose. Let's give the fabric of reality, let's give the richness of the soil a purpose so that we can, you know, show everyone how, like, we will be giving glory to the soil,
Mm.
glory to the womb, glory to how it's made by the actualization of the form. Like I speak of, we're in the garden, we are the seeds within the garden. When we flower, we are shouting, singing to the world how beautiful, how amazing the soil is. And it's like the
Yes.
soil, the mystery, the unseen, the only way it can receive glory is through us. So, but, be coming to flower, coming to
Yes.
flower. Like, no more sacrifice. Let's not be in the friendships and the relationships that make us feel we're in competition or we're not quite lovable or whatever the different things. That the one of the ones that came up for me was like relationships. I'm in a pure heart, and all of a sudden they've introduced some element of competition, and I'm just, oh, I can't be who in flower in that.
Mm-hmm.
So let me just release those things, all the proof that tells me, and we can say we attracted them. People say we attract everything, and that's fine. Um, but let's release it once we've seen it and say, no, I'm not gonna prove to myself day after day that I'm not love.
Mm.
Let me find visions and purpose and directions
This can
that
be
give
very, very
glory.
difficult
Mm,
we are when we speak about a relationship, like for example with a parent
yeah.
that you
Mm,
love and always have loved unconditionally,
yeah.
and they, I don't know, they close their hearts to you,
Mm-hmm.
and
Yeah.
if they see something in you that is not even there, and you can
Yeah.
see how from the angle that they're looking at, around
Mm-hmm.
10,000 different corners,
Yeah.
because you know them so well, you know what they're seeing, but it's not who I am.
Mm-hmm.
So
I
it's like,
have that.
oh,
Mm-hmm.
they can't
Right
see
now.
me.
I
Mhm.
have that right now, and so
Mhm.
then we don't have a relationship because I'm not going to be a relationship with with somebody's fractured, hateful projections of me. I'm not a
Mm,
fractured, hateful projection. I'm
yeah.
a innocent um person of love like everybody else. And if I'll have a relationship with your innocence and your heart and the goodness in you, and I will feed the goodness in you, and I will try to bring it to life. But if I'm doing that and you're coming at me like a wolf, no, we don't have a relationship. We don't.
Mm.
Mm,
Well, it's because this is the thing. This is what is so for me the most. This
mm,
is what this was my challenge, or is, but
yeah.
what I was talking about before, what came up this year
Mm-hmm.
is you love this being more than you can say, and
Yeah.
they love you too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but they have something. There's this
Yeah.
filter that keeps them believing and seeing a contorted
Mm,
unauthentic version of you, and it's what forces like them to stay in that closed heart, because actually that's
yeah.
why it's happening, because they're so afraid of what the love will bring up, because they will have to
Yeah.
feel everything, and
Mm-hmm.
it's too much. I understand it's too much for
Mm-hmm.
some people, and they don't know how, and
Yeah.
it's how they protect themselves. That it's like an
Mm-hmm.
unconscious protective mechanism. And so the
Yeah.
challenge is, okay, I can't be, even if because I tried, most of my
Mm-hmm.
life. I've only been free of trying. I can't even say I'm totally free of trying. I don't know,
Yeah.
but I tried to be that person, and contort myself in exactly the way so that
Mm.
they would be able to allow that love that is to flow,
Yeah.
and that's what children do anyways,
Yeah.
naturally. And uh so it's like I can't be, no matter how I contort,
Mm.
which I can't do anymore. I can't do that anymore. I
Yeah.
have to be this is the time, and that's also what the throat chakra is, and the
Mm.
expression is authenticity. This is,
Yeah.
first we have to also remember, what is my authentic self, and then it needs to flow, otherwise we
Yeah.
get sick. And that's that throat chakra opening that has to
Mm.
do with this whole Hill of Tara, Michael Skellig
Mm.
thing, in Ireland. And uh, so yeah, I can't do that anymore. So all I
Yeah.
can do is, I'm sitting here, I'm wide open for you. I'm loving
Yeah.
you. I'm loving you.
Yeah.
And if that, what else
Mm.
can I do? I can't go, and I've done that too, but
Mm-hmm.
that doesn't turn out well either. I can't go and beg you.
Yeah.
Come on, please
This
open
is,
your
I
heart. Love
know.
me. I love you. It's not gonna
Yeah.
happen. So yeah.
Well, this is it. It's like nothing is working but on the frequency of love. So every time we try to do that, right, step out of integrity and, negotiate or, try to be less than or whatever, it always brings karma, or sickness, like you say. So, but this is where I rest back and put my feet up, and I have so much faith in, like, I receive my directives from, the mother of in Andromeda, the core tone vibration of beginning. So I don't worry that it's not going to happen. I know it'll be like that. I'm just waiting for that
Oh.
moment. So I
Mm.
have this peace within me that is like, it can't be any other way.
And do you
It
also feel that peace, like, or is part of that peace, because I'm attached to the body, it's like I
Yeah,
know that our souls are going to be like loving each other forever, and that they will meet some one way or another again. But
yeah,
what about being able to actually live that still in these bodies? Are you
yeah, I feel that
you have
because
so you have
I
trust?
I do, because I'm so deeply embodied. I often say by the time it gets to me, that means it's embodying. Because, like when you mentioned Lisa Renee and all the different people who are speaking, so many different people speaking of the same stuff, I always say by the time I say it, remember, I don't read, I don't interface with other pieces of information. I say by the time it hits me, and I'm so deeply embodied, my voice comes from my womb. It's like it comes through my womb, so it's ready to be birthed. That's how I feel. So um I have that peace. I can't see any other way. And
Mm.
I also have that peace because I make that peace. Like I am
Yeah.
we are all part of a mission, let's say, or a team, a fleet that are making this happen because of our deep love of humanity. Yeah. You know, so we can sit back and say it'll happen and take a breath, but always breathe back into the rose. This is what I've learned. Just breathe into the rose and to put your feet up and come back. And my friend says, double down, double down and rise again. So I don't have any self-doubt whatsoever. I don't have any doubt. Like if I say something, as far as I'm concerned, it's done. So
Mm-hmm.
that's just how I am. And
Mm-hmm.
so I feel sadness, don't get me wrong. I cry my
Oh,
heart out, you know,
yeah.
cry my little heart out and, you know, and then say, well, yes, that is what it is, but how can you make it different? Double down and rise again. Because I cannot if I step outside of integrity and, you know, actively love someone who doesn't honor me or who has that wolf energy towards me, like we spoke of, and all of that thing. If I do that, I'm out of my channel. I'm
Mm-hmm.
nothing. I'm
Yes.
no use to anyone.
Yes,
Yeah.
that is so true.
I
Exactly.
become that person's puppet. That's it. So am I going to give up my full channel to be a person's puppet? No.
And you know what I was also taught by my higher self was
Mm,
this was really important was if you if you try, you know, are still not
mm,
standing in your authenticity, because
yeah.
that takes courage, you know,
Hmm.
if you grew up and you weren't allowed to. So
Yeah.
it takes courage, but um if you don't do that, if you're still holding this position and trying to adapt so that
Hmm.
the love can stay open, you know,
Yeah.
even though your heart, no matter what, is gonna stay open,
Hmm.
then you are holding um, you are supporting that, you're also helping them hold on to that illusion, you know, and hold on
Yeah.
to that version of themselves. They would like to be free, and not that they're aware of
Yeah.
it, but it would liberate them if they could also be free of that version of themselves that is stuck
Mhm.
in the askewed view, and that has their heart closed. You know, I'm not saying all the way closed, but you know,
Absolutely.
compromised. So they
Mm.
said to me, you know, you owe it to them out of love,
Hmm.
and you owe it to them, to their true
Mm.
self, to their
Yeah.
true being, that you stand
Mhm.
in your authenticity, regardless, you know, if that is not accepted, you know, and
Yes.
welcome. And this is how you help them, because it's an
Mhm.
addiction too. It's you know,
Yeah.
it's a habit. It's a habit,
Yeah.
and it's breaking. You have to break that habit, you know.
Hmm. Yeah. It's the truth. That is like the greatest gift. And you know, we're at the place now where things are getting so real. And you know, if we could some people call love like when you give people concessions, when you give them a piece of yourself, when you make your, you know, whatever, agree with their delusions. But we know what eternal love is because we're here to anchor eternal love so that, you know, it's not to make one person happy in a moment of delusion. We want to anchor the tenets of eternal love so that the upholding and the support and the system, the intelligence, the full network of eternal love anchors into the humanity's consciousness. And so that our children's children know what love feels like.
Yes,
So
absolutely.
maybe, you know, the elder, if it's a parent or whatever, maybe they have gone past the point. I don't feel that because I'm always waiting for the moment, always. But even if you feel I feel sad because maybe they've gone past. Um, well, I don't actually believe anyone can go past, you know, everything changing in a split second. But what I do is I take what I have received from my parents, and then I look down the line and I remember I'm serving my children and their children, just like my parents served me. And in that time, there was a lot of sacrifice and hardship. And then their parents, it was even more sacrifice and hardship.
Mm-hmm.
So I have less sacrifice and hardship, and my children will have less of that. They have
Mm-hmm.
more freedom and laughter and expression, and that will increase, So nothing of our parents ever goes to waste, like
Mm.
even their sacrifice. So even though, well, I don't want to be in sacrifice, I'm not going to repeat that, but I can still honor that is what they had to do, and they got so
Yeah.
far. They had to be very tough, very
Oh,
shut down, very harsh on themselves, and
absolutely.
to get as far as they got.
I could have not survived
Mm,
what my, yeah, what
yeah,
our ancestors went through and my parents went through.
mm,
I could have not survived. I could have not lived that life, and
yeah,
that's the other thing. I totally understand it.
yeah.
Yeah. Um,
And
I would
and
like,
then that
oh,
goes two ways. Sorry, that goes two ways. Their joy should come from seeing their children and their grandchildren free. Like that is
mm,
what is supposed to happen. So if there's a
yeah.
twist in the heart and they don't have
Hmm.
that, that's not correct either. So I'm
No,
saying what
how do we
my
help them
position should
heal?
be.
You know?
I don't have an answer. I don't have an answer. I don't feed the dysfunction. That's my only
Yeah.
answer.
That's what I
And
mean. How do we
yeah,
help them heal is by coming, we bring ourselves into sound,
mm,
that we are,
mm-hmm,
our sound is sound.
yeah,
And that's probably going to make them, going to push them
mm-hmm,
more into
it
their
does.
distortions. And then all
Oh,
we can do is hold space, loving space for that. But we
well,
can't,
yeah,
everyone
they
has
are.
to go
Yeah,
through that themselves. We can't
yeah.
help them through that.
Yeah. I'm finding like when I am releasing, so if somebody is a pain body, basically a walking
Mm.
expression of a pain body, they are receiving energy from other people all the time. That's
Mm.
how they sustain. So the best thing you can do is cut off their energy supply to you,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
because that is a big energy supply, especially if we are here as, golden light beings. We give a lot of energy. So we have to be careful with that.
And the moment you said that, I can still feel where I'm plugged in. I feel
Yeah.
my solar plexus where I'm still feeding that.
Hmm.
So there's still work to do on my end as
Oh,
well.
that's amazing
Absolutely.
though.
Yeah.
Because someone else told me last night, this is coming
Hmm.
up for everyone.
Hmm.
Um, someone else told me when I rang them and I said, "Can you just check this?" And I listed off something, and she checked. She said, "Oh yeah, there's a plug on my solar plexus."
Hmm.
So we can just dissolve that. We have the power of command. And you just say, if you want to say when in your own time, I can text you the same thing later, but just something like, I I remove any false frequencies from my energy body, or I remove any false frequencies from my solar plexus. I remove any false frequencies from my creational body. I reclaim and restore full golden magnetic central solar plexus. You can also take that power, so you can also bring the power supply. My friend Sarah speaks of a golden placenta in the earth. We speak of this golden braid of energy coming up from this placenta. This can be, if you wish for it, the power supply, this clean energy supply for this golden mechanical body of ours. See the architecture of the golden grandfather trees supporting this. These eternal trees that reach to the stars and that reach deep into the soil, deep in the womb of Mother, the cosmic womb, the soil womb, with pure golden, filtered through the ancient trees, pure golden, usable energy for our light body. Just allowing the mechanics of our golden body just to come into their correction, their full function, just allowing release of any siphoning plugs or any false frequencies that are running through our body.
Mm.
Mm.
Yeah, that's a
Mm.
really good inspiration also to go back to
Yeah.
and revisit. And
Mm.
then yeah, every time I feel that, then and to
Yeah.
to replug it, you know, basically. To
Yeah.
replug it. Yes,
Yeah.
yes. Because
And
the one
yeah.
plug is this is the thing, you know, it's not like we have a I have a because the heart connection,
Mm.
it's not a plug, you know, that's not a,
Yeah.
the heart connection is it's completely free, because
Yes.
the heart is open when it's open to the inside, and then that's it
Mm.
comes, all the energy comes from inside you, you know, your
Mm.
soul. And then it's just when you love, it just radiates, and
Yeah.
you're open to receive the love also
Mm.
that is there for you.
Yeah.
And that's not a plug, and the plug is only I think, you know, it's coming to me is that it is when we were children we needed love to survive
Yes.
physically.
Yeah.
So
Mm-hmm.
that's where that still comes from, you know.
Yeah.
When we plug in, when we feel we're afraid to lose that, where the
Mm-hmm.
energy is sustaining us, and then we
Yeah.
hold on, and there's that, then there's a plug, you know.
Yeah. So it's all natural, you know. It's all so natural, and it's all so common. It's all of us, you know.
Yeah.
Um. Mm.
I would like to touch back on one more thing.
Yeah.
If you're
Sure.
into it, it's just because it doesn't release.
Mm-hmm.
And it also came up in this time,
Mm.
that you posted about, I wrote it down here, the mother dragon spine. I don't know
Mm.
if you remember that.
I don't know. I posted. I saw the. I can feel it in my spine now. I saw this cloud formation right in the sky. So yeah, do you want to ask more, or do you want me
Yeah,
just
yeah.
to? Yeah,
So
please.
you posted two things that stuck with me because
Mm.
it was exactly what was coming through on my end as well.
Mm.
So with the mother dragon spine, before I saw that on your post, what happened here was that, you know, this is the year of the dragon.
Mm-hmm.
And this year has been just like, because I've never really had at all a thing with dragons connection there,
Yeah.
or so, not at all. But
Mm-hmm.
this year, dragons, just opening out, dragons. It is coming from all angles, and it's just going so deep and so beautiful, and it's so
Mm.
powerful. And so I watched this Journey to Truth podcast, and they had this guest, wonderful woman, and she
Mm.
at some point tuned into this mountain where there were dragons. And again, I'm assuming
Mm.
this is in a different dimension, you know, this is not 3D.
Yeah.
Assuming the dragons living in a mountain, and when they talk about there's a dragon in that mountain, and this dragon, they're going to wake up someday. And so I'm thinking that's probably in a different dimension, maybe in the dimension of Fae. I'm not sure though. But these are also the folk, they're everywhere. Yeah, this is like part of Mother Earth's
Mm.
soul, these beings as well. They're just in a slightly different dimension. And these dimensions, they used to be just like we used to be able to see dragons everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
The Fae realm and our realm used to be shared. We used to share interface, and we could see each other.
Mm. Yeah.
Um, and so she's tuning into this mountain and saying, okay, I'm here as a consciousness, open to if any one of you dragons living in this mountain
Mm.
wants to come and speak now forth, you know,
Mm-hmm.
I'm the open channel. And so she channeled this little green dragon, and it was, I mean, I was listening to the podcast on my headphones while I was riding my bike, and tears were just just running down my face. It was because it was so real, and it was like I felt the dragon and I felt the realness of it, and it was so beautiful. And this dragon then said it was about family, and it was about reuniting us with that was like its kind of thing, its particularity that it could help us with, unite us with our spiritual family, and also help us with our physical family. And we could call to her, name was Kiwi, the dragon's name, and we could call to her. So I did a session. And I did it private. I didn't record it. I did a private session with Kiwi. And then out of nowhere, so she put her hand, and this is just what I saw with my inner eye in this session. She put her hand on my forehead like this. And this is all in this time, in this time of the, Hill of Tara, Michael Skellig, She put her hand on my forehead like this. And what started happening was I started feeling how there are these dinosaurs that have this kind of a ridge. So it was like this ridge started activating a ridge, like a ridge of a mountain, a ridge of a dinosaur. These I don't know, fin scales, horns, or what, and sometimes dogs have it too, that like, or cats, when the hair stands up. So it went all the way from here till the tip of my tail, and I could feel it. For moments I could sense energetically how that was. It felt like I was in that, I had that kind of a body. And I could feel that, and it was like, and then I heard them say, your dragon ridge, that is your dragon ridge. I heard them say. And now I remember what had come shortly before that, just, I don't know, maybe even the same day or one day before, was that I felt the tip of my the root, this tailbone, the tip of the tailbone was tingling. And I said, that's interesting. I've never felt that before. And then they said, your dragon tail is coming alive. I'm like, okay. I was laughing. Okay. And then this happened with the spine, the dragon ridge. And that night that I did this session, it was like all night long the dragons were with me. Like it was I don't remember what I dreamt, but every time I woke up, it was like, oh my God, the dragons, they're all here, And so, and then you posted the mother dragon spine, something about that, and the whole post I read, and it was like, oh yes, just like keys unlocking, so beautiful. So again, there was that synchronicity. And again, okay, here's the other point. I don't know if you noticed, because I haven't said anything about it yet, but it's going to be coming out in the next videos. You remember I think it was the first video, because this is how this started to come into the expression of it, was the memory of this ridge, mountain range, where Matthias de Stefano was guided in his initiation journey to do the grid work with the 3 ibis birds and the code ibis, the free soul. And of course there's more code. And the mountain range, and me seeing, oh my God, didn't all happen at once, but me seeing what is clear as daylight in these rocks. And there we come back to giants. You said before, Giant's Causeway. I've never heard that before, but it's part of code 14, is the rock giants are awakening. And So I explained already what I saw in the first one, the Sphinx with the hat of Osiris. The second one is the rabbit from Alice in Wonderland, you know, down the
Mm-hmm.
rabbit hole, taking us into
Mm-hmm.
into knowing ourselves and meeting ourselves. And then what is behind that? So I won't mention because I don't want to take too much time because there's something else. Well, okay, I'll say it this way. It's a dragon, of course. It's a dragon. That whole mountain range, the ridge, it's a dragon. But it's the dragon with the dog face. It's the dog face,
Oh yeah,
which
I
is
know that one. Yeah,
my favorite book of childhood is The Never Ending
yeah,
Story, and that's
so nice.
Kukua. It's the white dragon, and I saw the white dragon in the clouds. Yeah, and so there, and so I realized, and then the piece of music that I put into the video, he was playing the handpan right in front of that ridge, and so I thought, no, there it is again, the piece of music I
Yeah.
put into that video, um,
Mm.
and and then I thought, oh, I have to look. Where is? I didn't even know where this is. It's Montserrat,
Mm.
Montserrat.
Mhm.
And then I got like all of a sudden I just got it's not Montserrat, it's Montserrat,
Mhm. Mhm.
Seraph, and the
Yeah.
seraphim dragons. You know, there
Mm.
that will also be that will come in.
Yeah.
So it's the now maybe you want to say something about the mother
Sure.
dragon spine.
Well, yeah, let me speak on the Golden Mother Dragon because that's the one I work on behalf of. So she came to me. A few beautiful things have happened actually. I was honored by her for the work I was doing, and I just, how do I explain it? She is like, these dragons are the keepers of the continuum, so the keepers of the eternal, undistorted timeline, the golden age. And what I was shown by her that she is the body, the containment of the golden age. She's the body of the continuum. She is the weaving function. So these dragons all have function
Mm-hmm.
abilities, and we can, when we're trusted and when we're the right one for that dragon, let's say, we we're offered trusted jobs, let's say, with the our creator consciousness, our present moment now consciousness, embodied consciousness, with the abilities of these dragons. So I have worked with her to restore, to weave with golden thread, weaving the fabric of the womb, the fabric of the continuum. So
Mm-hmm.
when I say the soil is corrected, I really saying it. You know,
Um,
I'm after, I'm saying it because I did it. You know. Now there's other women who work with the Golden Mother Dragon too. So and there's other people, I don't know what everyone does. So I can only talk about what I do.
yeah.
But I also, so that was in the beginning when I saw the mess of the way of things when I woke up. I woke up a few years ago. And when I say that, it doesn't mean I was asleep or distracted, but I mean that my soul had not fully embodied,
Yeah.
and then like a few years ago, my soul started coming back into my body, my consciousness, my awareness, my knowing in myself that I needed to fix things came back
Mm-hmm.
to me.
Mm-hmm.
And I was working with these golden magnetics to restore the body of the continuum and it was like powerful directives, like there were functions and like do this, and I would do this.
Like, for
Um,
example, can you give an example?
like for example, I had to find the sound frequency interference, what that was doing to the stones, and I ate it as this golden dragon and turned it into gold. It was black shadowy rings. Um, basically cutting off access to the black sun, cutting off the black sun's access to Earth.
What do you know about the black sun? What is the, if I can enter?
What I know about the black sun, what I know is that our creational sun, if that is, people say this, the central sun, our creational sun, the sun that our solar plexus is in alignment with, was the black sun. And now, because this is why we've had these shadow energetics, we have shadow magnetics. Our whole world has been built upon shadow, the
Ooh.
impulses of shadow. Our whole nervous system, our whole body has been orientated around the shadow of these impulses of masculine shadow, actually. But there was also a false magnetic containment of the womb. So I undid that in my position as a golden mother dragon. And I believe there's other women doing these same things. You know, we speak these things. And I don't exclude anyone from that, but you only do it if you do it. You know what I mean? So it's being done. So I can say what I'm doing. And now what I can say is that I heard her calling, this golden mother dragon calling from under the water. And this was the whole thing about the whale. The whole thing was I was to get into this whale to use sonar. So the whale has eternal technology. She has sonar. There's a fleet. Use this sonar to find this golden mother dragon. So somehow I am aware of all this in this body here, but I have these extra functions then of this whale or of this mother dragon. I find I can hear the sound. I can hear the sound of the golden mother dragon. And so I sang it. I sang it back to her. I was at the sea. I sang it back to her. Then I set up a workshop with a group of women and we sang her back, not necessarily even using word sounds. We sang her back to her position in the central sun, in the creational sun. So I can say now that the
Mm.
center of our central sun, and therefore the center of our solar plexus, is golden magnetic mother. And that is the magnetic that creates the golden age every single time. And that
Wow.
is filling all of the space that the black sun, that the shadow was.
Yeah.
And that is
Now
why
you
everything
cleared
is
up
leaving
something.
us.
I'm sorry. What was the last thing you
No,
said?
that's why everything that doesn't exist
Ah,
in love is leaving
yes,
us.
is leaving. Yes, makes sense. And now
Yeah.
you cleared something up for me because
Mm.
I didn't understand the black sun thing, but now I just got
Oh,
it.
I didn't actually answer about the
Oh,
spine. Sorry, the spine is the
yeah.
upholder of the river of creation, the water of our spine. And I will say that the river of our creation runs from Andromeda, from the aquiline water of Andromeda. It's birthing water. And I will also say that next week I'm going to be um also singing the sapphire frequency into the crown of humanity so that the spinal fluid is filled with the frequency of mother, and that every impulse of the nervous system, every impulse of the neural system will be brought to the impulse of love. Anyway, sorry.
Yeah, now I also get that piece is that
Yeah.
um skellig Michael, the stairway
Mm,
to heaven. See, because the stairway to heaven is our spine. That's the
yeah.
Jacob's ladder. That's the 33 vertebrae of the spine.
Yeah.
And the dragon spine is well, the dragon is I didn't really want to get into this yet. It's okay, but it is the oldest form of this diamond, double diamond DNA uh, in its fullness, and the oldest form. I shouldn't. They're telling me I shouldn't talk about it now. Okay, because
Okay.
it's not ripe yet. It's unripe still. But okay.
Okay.
Anyways, the spine is the stairway to heaven because it
Mm-hmm.
is when these fluids when or and also the especially the golden child
Mm,
that is born in the solar plexus and well no it is conceived exactly it is conceived in the solar plexus and then it is born through the womb and through the root and then it starts when it is born it starts at the bottom at rock bottom in the red at the tail end of the tailbone and starts then to rise and walk up the stairway to heaven, the ladder up the spine, and it flows in the spinal fluids. So it's when the rivers can flow unobstructed, and can and that the also that the soul, this pure essence of us, this soul of Christ child, the pure essence of us doesn't get well, it can only make it, if it doesn't dissolve on the way, because the waters are too acidic, or they're blocked or whatever. So that's how that fits with the Golden Mother and with the spine. And this spine erecting means it's stretching out, we're starting to express and stretch, and so it's that unobstructed flow.
Yeah.
And okay, and Michael, because that's when it goes through the heart, it connects everything in the heart with the throat. And this is the throat is also where we can listen. It's not just the hearing from the outside, it's also the hearing, that's where we hear our soul speak to us.
You wanted to say something about the shadow of the black sun?
Yes.
And then maybe we might wrap it up.
We have to wrap it up.
Sun. Yeah.
Because you're holding it. I have no idea about the time. The black sun. So what makes sense to me now is because I knew that they hijack certain stargates, like the unlight ones, the parasitical ones, that have been taken over by AI, and then they siphon off that where the energy normally stays within the tree of life, weaving through all the organic life forms. Then they siphon it off and open a portal into that artificial phantom matrix. And that's like the not just dense, but it's also the worst horrible feeling you can imagine. And because it's so horrible, well, it's the inversion of love. Love doesn't have opposites, but you can invert the energy, and that's then it feels horrible, right? Because you're killing it, basically. And so we were plugged into, and it wasn't really maybe it used to be a sun. I mean, probably that Stargate used to be a sun, and then they took that over and they inverted it, and it became this black hole. But again, when I use these words, it's not the physics technical term for a black hole. I'm just using it as a term of it. They turn it into a hole where it sucks the energy into that phantom matrix, and what it also does is it inverts everything, because as it sucks, it inverts and brings that in its place, creates shadow and more unconsciousness, going to sleep and so forth. And so that now I understand, because I wasn't sure if it meant black sun. Maybe it just meant the 0 point, because Nassim Haramein talks about a black hole at the center of everything. But I know that at the center of everything is the sun. But then maybe what also makes sense is that because what is beyond the light is because light is already something, and what is beyond something is no thing, and that's pure consciousness. And there is, pure consciousness doesn't have a form. And so that's what's called the womb, and it doesn't even have light. At the same time, it's one with form. So you can say the light is like the undistorted first expression when it comes out of this pure consciousness, which is the womb, and that is also
the first expression of life is sound, and that is the light of the womb. So the womb and the sound fields, the ether, has been brought to order, and the first emanation of God is sound, and the second is light.
Yes,
And
exactly.
sound is the light of the womb. Yeah.
Yes. So I thought that because the black hole is simply is this vortex, the magnetic vortex,
Yeah.
where it collapses into, just like the iris, that's why it's black,
Mm.
because it's
Yeah.
so tight. Yeah, it
Mm.
weaves so tight. Um,
Yeah.
but that's not the same thing as an inverted stargate, which can also be called
Mm-hmm.
a black hole or a black sun.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
that there's a difference. And so
Mm-hmm.
that we understand,
Yeah.
yeah,
It's like this parasitic, I would even say shadow network, um, that was connected to this shadow sun or black sun. This was just like, living off the light bodies, living off the
right.
consciousness. Yeah, it's like a
Yeah,
parasitic network.
yeah,
And they don't they don't have travel to the black sun anymore. As they are releasing, they're going straight to the aquiline sun of Andromeda. They don't have the beast machine. They don't have their machine. They don't have their mother anymore, their artificial mother.
right.
But we still have people on this earth who have been constructed by this machine. So, and I don't know how that works, how that ends up, but I have seen, gray hearts, you know, I've been up because they come to me. Everything comes to me. So I'm not sure how that ends up, but I'm just more interested in those that can be filled with light, to fill with light, so that we can figure out what to do. It'll come clear what we're supposed to do.
Yeah.
And what I was told about the light of the womb and the golden age, I was told when the full light of the womb is illuminated, that is the sun of the golden age. And what I mean by that, when I was working on my mother and she had shadow in her body from cancer, I could see this from my love, I could see the shadow turning to red roses. And what I would suggest that every elemental piece within the darkness, within the womb, once that's vibrating at the frequency of love of the rose, that is, we are at the eternal beginning again.
Mm,
We're literally guided by the love stars, the love vibrations of the womb. And that's what we will answer to. And our body, the star map in our body, of course, has to correlate. There's no choice. Like our solar plexus has to
yeah,
correlate with the sun. We have
exactly.
to. Yeah, we have no choice. So, and that false magnetic, that false generator, I say magnetic, it's the generator in the belly, in the womb. That falseness that was within us, there was a false magnetic tide over us through coming from the sound pulse was coming from the black heart of Saturn, and the magnetic force was of the moon was used to
Right.
create that hold. Um, so that is the magnetic for like we are within a magnetic universe, and that magnetic was the magnetic of hell, and
Yes.
that
Yes.
obviously greatly influenced women because of our wombs or all of our water, especially women, but everybody, of course, everyone. Um, and now what I can say for full certainty that the magnetics of our universe are golden mother, golden eternal mother. So everything is coming into correction because we're in the correct. So we have the correct sound within the core of our continuum, and we have the correct containment. So you can make it small. You can say it's a toroidal field, or you can say it's the whole core and covering of the universe. Either way, it's both.
Yeah, you said it was the false magnetic because
Mm,
magnetic and electric, they belong together and they've been split.
yeah,
That's our electricity.
yeah,
It's
mm-hmm,
not
yeah,
electromagnetic. It's all
yeah,
that's why we have all the miasma, because they've been split.
yeah.
And
Yeah, it's because they had the false harness on the magnetic and the electric was interfered with. And David Emery was speaking about that with me. The electric is massively interfered with. So, what he actually said, this is so interesting. And I knew this because I said, it's like the men and women can't hear each other. So, it's like there's so many books about relationships of what a woman is supposed to do to get a man to listen to her. And I just think that's so strange, you know. And he said that we're not in it, the masculine and feminine principles were taken out of alignment. And I use the word attunement. And we
Mm-hmm.
had a really interesting conversation about this the other day, because he started by saying the feminine needs to align with the masculine. And I after a while I said, well, actually the masculine needs to align with the feminine, because the sound, and he knows that too. And he said, yeah, of course, sound comes before light. So and the reason it has to happen like that, because if the masculine has been fractured, and it has, so if the electrics have been fractured, if the fractured electric calls for the magnetic, that gets brought to life. Whereas if the magnetic, which is not fractured, it is a full spiral continuum, when that calls for the electric, and when the electric attunes and devotes to that, that electric will come back into it comes out of fracture, it becomes infinite. And I said that to him, this is the way, if you guys would like it,
And that
if
totally
you want
makes
to be,
sense.
yeah, if you want an infinite channel again, attune to the feminine, and you will have your infinite eternal channel again. There will be no
Yeah.
more finite parasitic masculine consciousness on this planet.
You know why I
So
shook my head? I
yeah.
shook in the first time I shook my head is because I was thinking that not not the neither the mask, but then you said it in a way where it makes perfect sense. But it's
Yeah,
not the masculine that has to what bring in the feminine, or the feminine that has to bring in the masculine.
yeah,
The way that I see it is I have to just attune. So the masculine attunes to the masculine, and the feminine attunes to. It's always about authenticity, because
mm,
when we come back, we have both in us. So when
mm.
we come back to our authenticity, it doesn't matter if it's the feminine part or the masculine part, because
Well,
they're
let's say
two.
sound
Yeah,
then
exactly.
instead.
Sound.
Like, yeah, say
They're
like,
two.
so the sound is compelling attunement.
The
So the
sound
sound,
is
if there's no
yeah.
sound, there's no creation. There's
That
nothing.
totally makes sense,
Yeah.
because they're two sides of the same coin. They're two,
Yeah.
that's what the polarity is. It means two sides of the same coin. So when it's off, it's off. It's both,
Yeah.
it's always both off. So just one needs to come within itself into balance,
Mm-hmm.
and the other one comes into balance.
But we have the sound corrected now. We have the magnetic corrected. So that is compelling
Yes.
order.
It's
So
calling
what is,
forth
yeah,
the
there's no
order,
choice.
the
Yeah, there's no
fractalization,
choice.
because
Yeah.
that's the difference.
Yeah.
Fragmentation
Yeah.
or
Mm-hmm.
fractalization.
Yeah.
Fractalization is when you are the individual part knows that it
Mm-hmm.
is a part of all,
Yeah.
and
So
it
it's
is
it's
one with
almost,
all.
we're calling. It's really beautiful. So we are a magnetic universe. So I think David said we're the feminine, like the magnetic universe or the feminine universe. And he said like the masculine was almost on a parallel universe. The electrical universe is parallel. I don't fully
Oh,
understand that, but
no.
it's almost like if we want to look at this big, beautiful love story, we're actually calling a whole universe back to ourselves. We're
Mm-hmm.
calling the masculine universe back home. I know that sounds a bit extreme, but even in the person, even in the one person, it's just about, the only way to get the 0 point correct is to know what it is. And the first emanation of God is sound, the second is light. So if we've corrected the sound, then
Yeah.
by extension, the light finds correction, finds order, because the sound gives order, the sound gives direction.
Right.
So,
And so
yeah.
that's also when the attunement is there, then the alignment
Mm.
comes. Yeah,
Yeah,
it comes
naturally. Well,
naturally.
but it will be a beautiful infinite alignment of a spiral. It's not going to be this linear, let's go this way. It's going to be, okay, let's actually get the spiral of creation moving, because the sound comes from the rose. So as soon as it comes, it's already seeking to spiral. And then as the electric comes in, it's creating the full spiral of creation. So the potentiality of that is infinite, as
Yes.
opposed to if we just give um our energy, to finite visions and finite dreams and finite, let's do it this way, let's keep going the linear path, we're wasting our energy, whereas we
Ah,
can call it in. Yeah.
okay. You okay? you're going to have to stop me, you know, when I'm going over. And I'm trying to be really, really brief. But this is exactly. So just to say, it's not about a man giving himself to a woman or a woman to a man.
No.
It's about the man giving himself to his inner, you know, coming into alignment within himself. And that also means getting in touch with his feminine side. So
Yeah.
now we make it to what you just said, because this is so important. Getting, how do we get in touch with, it's like, how do we get in touch with the feminine side? And what does it even mean, the return of the goddess? And
Yeah.
for me, how I understand it, is the feminine brain. It's the right brain, and it atrophied in the way that we were, you know, in this system. It was literally set up so that we don't go there. That we, because the egoic mind, or this, where they can siphon our like, let's say where we buy into beliefs and so forth, where we come into a position of out of attunement, where they can, in our unconsciousness, you know, and as children we are unconscious. We first later can start to realize this, but until then, where they can siphon off, it all happens in the left brain. It's happening in it's not in the feminine brain. But so they're keeping, and then the whole system is set up to keep our attention always in the left brain, doing and having and all of this. And not to, and here the feminine side of the brain is also the one where the soul is received first in the feminine side of the brain before it comes into the reflection in the masculine side of the brain. So before I can talk about it and reflect on it, it's first in the receiver, in this intuitive brain. So coming into balance means to begin to to listen to our intuition, and you know what they also say, the gut feeling, or you know, the inner guidance, the inner voice, but also the creativity, and also being a child again and playing. All of this is where we couldn't be having this or being that without the feminine side of the brain. It's that balance, and that's what's coming back. And because it's been so out of balance, so it's about giving that value, which in our society has no value whatsoever. And so this doubt did come in this whole time, because I've been spending months on these nodal points that have come in through, which we haven't even talked about all of them yet, and we won't in this session. But them coming in, and me spending months making these videos really every day, from, you know, getting up before dawn sometimes, and just like, that's what I'm doing, that's what I'm like completely giving my energy to. And then the right side of the brain going in like, I really hope you're not wasting all this time and energy on this, because it still doesn't, or well, it actually does now make, you know, I can't deny that anymore, that it also makes sense to the rational mind, and that there, even to the rational mind, I can rationalize how this has worth. But I can first come to this point because I didn't listen to that voice. Because I knew, I get it. I still feel how that is there. You know, a little bit of doubt is in the mix, but it has no power. What is way stronger is this knowing that there is value here. There's so much value here. I just don't understand it yet. And it's part of it. That is part of us coming back into attunement and alignment, and that feminine principle, divine. All the principles are divine. Coming back in. Part of that is exactly what we're doing here. And it's this, you know, sometimes you just don't, you can't make sense of it, but it has so much value.
But it's interesting when you speak of the sound coming from the masculine side of the brain, let's say, And then I know of massive frequency attack upon the electrical element principle, because I know this has, in my experience, what I've seen has completely debilitated some men that I know to the point of insanity and suicide. And this is sound interference on particularly targeting the electrical component of the body. Now there has been, like, the feminine was not was in distortion. The womb was in complete distortion also. So I'm just moving on because that's, I feel that's already taken care of. So I'm focused on bringing this attunement. So what I would say is that in the most basic of levels, like, it's intention and action. They haven't been in attunement. We have had insane action on this earth, absolutely insane. If they haven't been in tune, the actions of people, and still, and I even not just the wars and everything else, but just the self-sacrifice, the self-slavery, the self-hatred, all of the steps we take that are hateful to us have not the so our action is being informed by something that is not mother's love, that is not the divine feminine. So, so there's been a upset there, a break there. What I say is that when the breath is correct, when I can feel it in my breath, and I can now in the last few days, that the in breath and the out breath go together. I know we're there. And that's what I have now. What I have now is that I breathe in back to the frequency of the depth of the rose, full of love. And I breathe out and I cast this net of a rose almost. That's my exhale. It looks like this net of a rose. Then I breathe back in everything that comes to me, and I bring it all back to the order of love, or it doesn't fit in. It mightn't work in the frequency of love. And this is how I'm breathing now. So if that's in me, like I said, if it's in me, by the time something gets to me, it's ripe, it's ready to be born. And that's the
Ah,
creator's breath.
mhm,
It's when the breath is in union. Like, to me, the divine union that matters is the breath, because
mhm.
then you never go against yourself. You never wear yourself out. You are working with this infinity, perpetual breath, which powers up your body and gives you endless life and renewal and energy, and nourishment. So, and the solar plexus has been brought to union. Of course, when the golden mother dragon is hurtling along in your tummy, that's bringing the electrical order. The heart is there's You spoke of that, about the vortex of the heart, or you spoke of what I thought was beautiful. You spoke of the masculine eye looks out and the feminine eye looks in, and when they meet in the middle, that is, what did you say? Like the place of creation?
You know what? I don't even know.
It was amazing. That's what because I remember that. I watched your two videos, and I just found them incredible. And I
It's
found that you spoke with so much love that
mm,
I was able to receive everything. Mm.
mhm.
You
Yeah.
spoke of the eyes and the solar plexus being places of union. And now, okay, what I'll say about the heart, it's like the lungs and this rose here. The heart, of course, is a place of union, but I'm not sure. Like, the feminine aspect of the heart is the immaculate, pristine heart, like the vibration, right? The vibration constantly. And the masculine part of the heart to me is the place of time, decision, action. So that is an alignment. That is in union too. I could say that. Mm.
Wow.
Mm. But also in the feminine heart, I'm including the womb, because I can't really distinguish between both.
Yeah, and you know that both
Mm.
is the chalice. So the
Yeah,
heart is the Holy
yeah,
Grail, and also the womb is called
yeah,
the Holy Grail, and it's
yeah.
yeah.
Wow. we have covered so much, and this is
Yes, so much.
really like you said, this unpacking and this, beholding, because we both have so much the I don't know if the word is mystery, but like we have such a vastness, and then to be able to kind of try to behold each other and speak to correlations and things. And this
Yes.
is the connectivity that has to come, like, in the mind. Um, I am just seeing the disconnection, the dispassion, the apathy um on display, and it
Ah,
unsettles me. It actually unsettles me when I see it, like when there's times of need. And I really do see this, people just taking a step back and people disconnecting. Um, and I'm not saying I'm perfect with that, but I just see as the connectivity comes back and the compassion comes back, things are going to be so beautiful and so much better for people, for everybody.
yes. Yes.
Mm.
I totally see. I totally can see
Yeah.
that. Yeah, and
Do you have any
mm,
last one?
no, I just I know that we didn't, there's so much more even in this container.
Mm.
This, but we could go on for hours. So yeah,
Absolutely.
yeah, and of course, there's so much more that also where this is leading to. This is opening
Mm-hmm.
up. This is
Yeah.
opening up more. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Well, everything is received into the soil, into the softness,
Hmm.
into that receptivity. So, you just have to wait and see what grows,
Oh yeah.
because that's what it feels like. It's like everything is accepted and received because it's the right frequency. Of course, there's a parameter in this space, of course, like everywhere else, but there's a love, the love frequency. We're both working on that, and everything is just accepted. And then we'll just see, we're sending out vibrations, we're sending out ripples, and I feel like that is the only way we can expand now, is just to be our truth and expand it out and see who resonates, you know?
Yes.
So,
Yes.
yeah. Okay, thank you so much, Aloha. This has been a big one. Thank you so much. I'm gonna
Thank you.
watch back and enjoy this again and again.
Me too. Me too. And thank you so much for, for reaching you, but the way you responded to my comment on the whale picture, and
Mm.
you basically opened the doors for us to come together, and it,
Thank you. I was so happy you noticed the stone. That was the most exciting bit.
oh
That
my God. And
stone.
when you
Huh?
said it was a blue whale, it was like,
Yeah.
oh, oh my God, and there's so much in there. And then I saw it too. And
It's
and I really felt
exceptional, isn't
that
it?
stone.
Mm.
And I got that
Yeah.
you said you think that you left something in it for yourself.
I wonder, did we leave these things? Because that is such an incredible stone,
Yeah.
so handpicked, so the perfect emblem, and I
Hmm.
recognized it. So I just
Yes.
wonder. I don't know how it all works, but I do wonder, have we, and maybe not me, but maybe those of us working on the same frequency as the one fleet, because that's all it takes to be of the one fleet, of the one shoal, is the same frequency. So this is how we will know each other's minds. We will have the full system of connectivity is just being on the one frequency. And the only frequency that can unify is love.
Yes.
Because it actually is the only one that's really accepted by the water, by the fractal elements, and by earth and everything. Nothing, they don't really accept any other frequency. They get sick. So
Yeah.
it's the only one that can actually unify. So me, or one of us, one of my kind, could have left that stone, and we could know everything that everyone is doing. You know what I mean? It's like, because we're all the one thing.
Mm.
That's how I feel about that, and that's what I see coming, and I already feel it. But the joy of being in a pod is
Oh my
just
God.
such a
Yes.
joy.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes, 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 yes. And
Yeah.
if tell me if you have to go, or if I have
No,
one
talk
more
about the
minute.
pod. Yeah,
Okay,
pod.
yeah. I had a dream once where we were a group of just lots of people, and the
Mm,
building was really ugly. It was like a school building, like
mm,
not the Tartarian architecture, but like the ugly architecture school building.
yeah.
And we were all living there in that school, and we were sleeping in the rooms. I don't want to say dorms, but the rooms had many
Mm,
beds, and we were all sleeping there. And so if I say it from like this, it's like, that doesn't sound like a nice situation. It was
mm,
heaven. It was heaven. And
mm,
even though linoleum floors, it wasn't pretty, but it was heaven, because
yeah.
of the hum of that place, of the
Mm,
humming of the harmony between every single one of us. There was not
yeah.
one single person that had a judgmental
Mm,
criticizing or a thought, which means judgment doesn't mean discernment, this is right, this is
mm,
wrong, and they did something wrong. It means I close my heart to them, I don't like them, I push them away.
mm,
It's like I look without respect. I mean, okay, not going there, there is also a place for that,
mm,
there is a place for that, when someone did really something wrong. But what I mean is, there's
mm,
not there wasn't this distrust. There
yeah.
was no need to to protect yourself, or to be
Yeah.
like standoffish, or to
Mm,
ulterior thoughts about and so forth. None of
mm-hmm.
it was
Yeah.
all in this innocence, this
Mm-hmm.
being free with each other,
Yeah.
and knowing that that is whatever
Mm.
you are, it is received, and
That is what we're coming back to, because the core sound that is holding us all in cohesion, it's not just sound, it's also core strength, because sound creates the pillar of strength, right? It's just rings and rings and rings, like a tree. A tree is just rings of vibration. So, um, the only reason we have weakness and instability and all of that distrust you talk of, and you know picking and poking at each other and pushing each other around, is because of a lack of core strength, and a lack of core strength is caused by a lack of core love,
yes,
and that's being corrected. So we will have core strength and cohesion, so each one an individual but working for the same team.
yes,
So
yes. And
yeah,
that is the
everyone with their own
opposite of
energy.
boring.
Mm.
That is
Yeah.
because somehow they put it into our minds that that's boring, and it means everyone is
Yeah,
the same, or no, it's the opposite. We get to be
it's
even
beautiful.
more individual and more
Mm-hmm.
more expressive, because
Yeah.
we don't have to fit in. That program isn't there
Mm-hmm.
anymore. This have to adjust and fit in. I can be
Yeah.
my totally weirdest self,
Yeah.
and that is celebrated. Um,
Mm-hmm.
and what else did oh God. Um, I lost the string.
Okay, we better stop so before we do
Okay.
another hour. While
Okay.
we're able to stop.
Right.
Okay. Well,
Oh,
thank
Mary.
you so much, Aloha.
Thank you
Thank you so
too.
much.
Many
Okay.
blessings. Much love to you. And
And thank you, whoever's watched us. I hope you enjoy
yes,
it. Yeah.
yes, yes,
Because we really
exactly.
got caught into this beautiful tapestry, like allowing this tapestry, this painting, this dream to emerge. So I really hope this has helped maybe join dots for people, and get other people thinking about their place in this reweaving and redreaming and speaking up, because we do correlate and we do correspond, and there is cohesion, there's supposed to be cohesion, um and that is actually a joy, that we're all in this together. So okay, thank you everyone, thank you, Aloha, take care.
Much love. Bye bye.
Bye.